We have begun Roundabout Cast episode 68. We haven't done this in a while. How do we podcast? It's been a month.
All you do,
I think we just talk and we're right about everything. That's how they work, right?
Are we?
No.
I vaguely remember us being wrong about everything, but maybe that's wrong.
do we know the podcast number? I know that was a bit for a bit.
I just said 68. I'm on to you.
Okay.
I'm on to your games.
We're one away from the
Oh
second cast.
shit! Yeah, what's our? We gotta play some hentai games, Bradley. That's on you for next podcast.
You know what? We'll do Hentai Asmodeus 2.
I got hentai games lined up.
Funny thing about hentai Asmodeus, we have many like shortcut videos that get like one view every 6 months. Hentai Asmodeus for some reason gets like a view every 28 days. That's more. That's more than the average shitty video.
We were really surprised.
For some reason, putting the word hentai on the title does wonders. So, maybe I'll keep that in mind for this podcast title. All right, we can go through our short talks that we've been up to. Who wants to start?
I choose Bradley.
Does Bradley even have one? Because you can't talk about Disney yet, because I put that in the middle of the schedule.
Because that's going to be an official section. So that has been hot. Besides that, because Runeterra is one that's been ongoing. In the Genshin world, they finally came out with a new update, which I was really excited for, because there was a super hot ninja girl with green hair. However, she was not as powerful as I anticipated. She probably is not going to make the cut. Going to have to vote her off the island, I'm afraid.
It's it's crazy to me how much you're a meta slave in Genshin. You strike me as the kind of person who'd be like, I think this character looks cool, so I'm gonna make him work. Is upper tier Genshin so difficult that you have to?
No,
it's really not. I think the difference is that in so many other games, there might only be a dozen characters that I think look cool instead of like 24 characters that I think look cool. So like in Genshin, I can afford to be a little bit more meta crazy because I don't know. There's so many characters that I like.
Here's my beef about it. All right, so once you've done all the story content, like I did, what's the newest region called again?
Oh, like the newest one that's out, Inazuma?
Just the entire region, not the specific underground.
I think it's Inazuma.
Yeah, Inazuma, so like I did that with new characters. I dumbed down like the world level a little bit, and that's kind of I think the worst part about getting new characters is unless you're just like hoarding all these amounts of materials, which that's the game, is to get all those materials so you can level up the new characters as soon as possible. It's really hard to do that because lowering your world level reduces the amount of drops that you get. And I think that's the biggest downside to playing with new characters.
And I mean, drops are important because it's still a gacha game, so you still gotta do all like the little micromanaging of like different stats you can raise on characters.
You still need all the world monsters to be a certain level in order to get those world drops.
Yeah. I think Tyler brought up like a really good point because I've noticed for most of characters, if I'm actually excited for the character, I'll farm up every single material I need to get them to level 90 before they come out. Because the thing is, if they come out and you don't already have every material, you're going to have to spend weeks farming up all those materials, and until then, you can't really use them out in the world unless you turn the world level down. But then playing is almost not even worth your time because the rewards are so drastically reduced.
But see, that's only because you're currently in the caught up grind meta. Say I was just doing the story, I could probably just play whatever, right? Just play my
and that's
favorites.
it's really fun to just like dumb down the world levels so you're not dying left and right and play it with the new characters. Mega fun.
Oh, hell yeah.
That was actually a not launch feature. Was just like you had to play with whatever your like adventure rank was.
Yeah, I had no idea you could dumb down the world level until you just mentioned it today.
Yeah, that was new. Bradley didn't know until I like went and did the Inazuma campaign.
I think there was like a point where some players like may have gotten stuck where they're like, "Damn, these enemies got hands."
Oh shit.
Bradley.
Mm-hmm.
I'm on the Genshin leak grind.
Oh no.
They have dropped, I think, like, and Hoyoverse doesn't like it when their characters get leaked.
They really don't.
They're really against it. Like, they've sued people because of it. And I think we have like the first 6 Sumerian characters been leaked.
Yeah.
Including the Archon.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Potentially.
Holy crap. And I know that the only leak I saw is that I think for a fact we are finally getting the new element, like the nature element.
Yeah, we
we've
are
been
getting
talking
Indra.
about that for genuinely over a year and a half. Like,
Yeah, like we've always known it was gonna happen. We just never knew when.
Yeah.
any day now.
Any day.
Any day now.
What else you been up to, Bradley? If any. Or you can pass.
Let's pass.
You pick. Pass to who?
Let's pass to Joe.
Oh, okay. Let's see.
What the hell's Minx, Joe?
Minx is an HBO show.
Oh, I thought that was like Winx Club.
Yeah. Minx.
No, it's not. It's an HBO show that's hold on, I want to get the actors' names correct in this. No, TV show. Goddamn, I don't care about Minx, Texas. That stars Ophelia Lovibond and Jake Johnson. It's set in the 1970s, and this woman named Joyce wants to make a feminist magazine that talks about feminist views and talks about like equality and rights, stuff like that. But no one's having it except for one person, Jake Johnson's character, who is a pornography Mongol. So he makes a porn magazine for women that has her articles in it. It's just basically their time together, like creating this magazine. That's what season 1 is about. And
This sounds really fun. Did you talk about this last podcast?
No, I mentioned it to you in like literally.
passing? Okay.
Yeah, and we were having a game night and we were talking about TV shows we were watching, and I mentioned Minx. And I suggested to our friend, and there's a lot of tits and penis in this show. But it's really good. I really liked it, and like it does a good just kind of just story about like creating your dream and like what it means to chase after your dream and sacrifices you have to do to like make it happen, and realizing that like sometimes what you envision what you want it to be isn't exactly what it should be or what it can be. Like she is very much like she has to learn to move away from this conservative viewpoint she has from her own like white girl life into like this more of like, well, this is what we have to do to survive for a business, and if you're doing a very unpopular view that doesn't click with your conservative friends, you have to do this instead, kind of thing. What like how trying to do the right thing can sometimes be very clashing to what people are doing all their lives. I really liked it. I really enjoyed it. I'm excited for season 2 when it comes out. I think Jake Johnson does a great job of being this like sleazy but also kind of like sleazy but has a heart pornography producer. He's just really funny too. But I watched that. Everything else we'll be talking about is like in the main cast. I found another board game that I think gave me the same sensation I felt when I first played Spirit Island and Star Wars Rebellion for the first time, which is Food Chain Magnate. Super good game. And that's kind of about it.
Worth noting that food chain game is apparently a 4 to 5 hour game.
Yeah, that game is 4 to 5 hours, but it's 4 to 5 hours that just like fly on by. Turns are really quick, but there's a lot of turns in the game, so it just I think it's a really good pace to it, and I really enjoy it. It's $125. I don't know if it should be at that price point, because the reason it's $125 is because it gives you a manual in German and additional components for German, and I really don't need those, so you know.
Guess you gotta learn German to make it worth it, Joe.
Oh yes. But that's kind of it.
Well, who you passing to?
I'm gonna pass it to Tyler.
All right. I think it's kind of a crime that you put Megalobox on here.
Oh, okay, that's fine.
Both my animes, but I'll do.
No, you like Megalo. No, you're right. That's my bad. There you go.
Okay, I'm gonna do. I'll do Shield Hero. So I watched Rising of the Shield Hero season 2, which is only 12 episodes compared to the original run of 25 for season 1, which doesn't surprise me at all because, like, episode 10 of that 12. What is this? Maybe a bi-monthly anime, like manga adaptation? Holy shit, there's a huge spider on my wall.
Oh,
That is a huge live spider on
Should
my
we
wall.
take a pause and address this situation?
No.
Okay, that could spiral out of control really bad.
New
So-
mascot.
Yeah.
The thing is this is a short novel into manga into anime adaptation. And, like, I think it was like 8 months ago I read the last chapter, which is like where the a little bit after the labyrinth ends. And I knew like the main plot point of what season 2 accomplishes. And that's how far I had gotten in the manga. And that was 8 months ago. And then the season finale wrapped up like a week and a half ago. So I'm just like, it was a good ending point. I would not suggest anybody read that short novel to manga adaptation because the pacing is just awful. Like, it was so quick in the anime and it was so nice. I didn't have to wait months on end for any conflict resolution. Maybe it's a weird Tyler reading adaptation.
Every time you talk about this show, you never really like love it. Like, as I recall, you're always mixed on this, but you keep coming back.
It's a guilty pleasure, or it's just a nice pleasure.
I had a talk with one of our friends about this, and she watches a lot of bad anime according to her. She just filters it all through her. And there's a lot of people like that. They just watch whatever comes on Crunchyroll.
The seasonal trash gobbler.
Yeah, and compared to, everything that comes on Crunchyroll, there's a lot of worse stuff.
True.
than
You know
Shield
what?
Hero.
Fair.
Like that is my rating of it. There's a lot of worse stuff.
We can use the word kids love so much these days. It's mid, but mid means middle of the road, so it could be worse.
Oh, I just realized, I just remembered something completely that I wanted to mention, but the Obi-Wan Kenobi show came out.
Oh.
Yeah, I watched it. I enjoyed it. It's really weird. The last episode of that show gave me the closure I needed from the prequel trilogy, which is a really weird feeling that you didn't think you need, but it gave it to me anyways. But I think it's like you said mid and remind me of that. I think it's like it's not the greatest show, but for someone that just loves Obi-Wan Kenobi, it's like I really enjoyed it. It has like some pretty bad flaws and some weird story issues.
I fucking hate the word mid, man.
It's pretty mid, to be honest.
You use the word mid all the time, though.
I don't. Me?
Yes, you do.
No.
Yes.
Unironically, name something I've called mid.
Okay, not unironically. He uses it ironically, though, probably.
I can't think of anything I called. The other day I saw someone call Kaido a mid villain. I was like,
What?
I feel like we're just using the word like he doesn't have to be your favorite, but really mid?
I also hate the term mid. I feel it's more insulting than calling something bad.
So I don't know if y'all know the anime YouTuber Giguk. He's like a big anime guy, right? He's in the Trash Taste podcast with the other two popular anime boys. Giguk made a shonen tier list and had the brilliant idea of calling every tier like low mid, high mid, true mid, top mid, because every shonen's mid according to every shonen fan. And I was like, you're actually correct because that word is just thrown around. Anywho, mid rant over. Back to our mid podcast. Anything else, Tyler, you want to bring up?
What a great joke. That went unappreciated.
Nah. Shield Hero is at a good place for 37 episodes IMO, but it is still just a casual isekai. But it's better than other isekais.
I mean, that's a whole ass genre. In other notes, stay tuned for me and Tyler's light novel that we're gonna make to Battle Shield Hero. In the shelves.
So I'm gonna pass that on to Willer so we can both talk about Final Fantasy IV.
So you've played Final Fantasy IV? I always forget the ones you've played or not, because in the past I've mentioned I've talked about this before, and I was like, I'm playing. I remember it's 5 that you haven't played. Yes.
Yeah, I played 4 was the second Final Fantasy I ever played.
So I finally got around to finishing it, and now I always do this thing where I finish Final Fantasy, I get halfway through the next one, and then I don't play it for 6 months, and then I finish that one. So I'm currently doing that with 5. Yeah. Anyways, Final Fantasy IV, I played the port of the DS version on my iPad. So, what's nice about playing the Final Fantasies on the iPad until the Pixel remakes that I'm now playing 5 on is that if you fuck up, you can just turn off the app and go back, and you will spawn right before whatever you just did, so you can cheat the save system, and it makes those games so much more fun to play when, like, oh, whoops, I walked into a bad fight, and my only person that has revives died in the fight. Let's just redo that. So, Final Fantasy IV, the early Final Fantasies can be separated in a couple of ways. So you have 1, 3, and 5 that are the class-based ones, where you have, or I'm going to say job-based ones, where you have characters that you have a set party, and then you switch your jobs around. That's 1, 3, and 5, and they all keep improving on that. And then 2, 4, 6 have these character-based ones, where your character embodies a job. And like those tend to have like I feel like they tend to have the better characters because you can create these characters that embody their job, and that's a little loose because there's like a cool character in 5, so even though that's like one of the job based ones, they're improving as I'm playing through them and like writing characters around the job system. But 4 was really cool. I ended up liking all the characters and the plot. It's all like simplistic, but like there's a whimsy to it. There's a good sense of adventure, and I think like even these early Final Fantasies really hit it out of the park with adventure. Some of my favorite scenes in this game are the scenes where your party members die super hard, but then just like every great story ever told, like One Piece, deaths don't exist, so all the characters come back later. You have Sid, who blows himself up in this nuclear explosion and closes a hole in the underneath world of the world, and then he just wakes up in a bed somewhere. That you just go into a castle and Sid's just resting. It's like, oh yeah, cool. We're doing Pell physics here.
What about the twins?
Now, to be fair, there's these twins characters who turn themselves to stone to hold back these walls that are crushing in on your party. They died from a spell, so it was only reasonable that they could be revived. But Yang and Sid, like, died, and they came back. But characters do die in the very end. The bad guy dies, and then it's... This has a lot of, like, the Naruto... Bad guy was controlled by a bad guy who's controlled by a third bad guy.
The moon made me do it.
Actually, yes, the moon literally made them do it in this one. It's a wizard that lives on the moon.
It is a moon wizard.
Doesn't that happen in 8, or am I misremembering your synopsis from that?
8, you go to the... Yeah. Yeah. In 8, you have to go to the moon because there's a... 8 is weirder because what actually happens in 8 is... a enchantress that's all powerful in the future sends her consciousness back in time to take over every time. There's something called time compression. 8 is nutty. Anyways, there's some sad scenes in this, but again, some of those deaths are taken back. But what I found interesting about this one is that it's significantly harder than 3, and I mean 7's piss easy, to be honest. And it's harder than 8 as well. Like, these fights have to like really know the gimmick to the fight. I don't know what you remember about it, Tyler, but you could talk about it a little bit. But all in all, I really like the challenge and how much I had to kind of vary up my strategy, surprisingly.
I remember the like final dungeon area where you got to like do all the boss fight weapons.
boss fight.
Do you know what I'm?
I think that's three. That's three
Okay.
where like you keep walking into chests and a boss will spawn.
I thought there was a dungeon on the moon that had that too.
Now the moon has what I consider one of the most fucked up bosses I've ever fought, which is so there's the four lords in this game, which are elemental fiends you fight throughout the game. And
the
then,
balls?
and then you have to fight them all consecutively in the same fight, and like they have harder gimmicks this time.
Oh, the lunar eidolons.
They're not eidolons; they're just the fiends that you were fighting throughout the game. And then you have the classic big boss surrounded by two little shit supports. That's a classic RPG staple. I feel like you're mixing it up with 3 a little bit because that one has a lot of like fight boss, get weapon.
Oh yeah, that I remember the ending being very easy for me in 4. Because there's one thing that is a constant throughout 4. So as you're playing through the game, you get different classes based with different characters, but you have Cecil being the paladin all the way throughout the entire game.
Well,
And
he starts as a Dark Knight and becomes a paladin because that's character development.
Yes, but that's like the prologue.
No, it's part way through. It's like a third through the game.
But then like you get like Cecil is your worst character until he isn't.
What did you do to Cecil? He was always kind of the worst for me, but I appreciated what he could do.
I don't remember, but at the end, I had 2 characters at the very end, and it was Cecil and the ninja, and every attack I did with them was capped.
So the ninja was but the thing that the ninja's called Edge, literally. He is the biggest twat in the party. I like the character of the other 4 party members, and then you get fucking Edge, who's just a loser.
He is.
But my god, when he throws shurikens and other assorted items, he is a god.
Remember having like 32 shurikens at the final boss?
Oh, yeah. And God forbid you have some Fuma shurikens, because those bitches will easily break the damage cap.
Yeah, no, that's what the Fuma shurikens. Those are the good ones.
And my favorite party member is Rydia. She's like a little summoner girl who does like a time skip mid-game through like time magic and becomes a woman. And then I was just melting people with Bahamut. Man, I love Final Fantasies just because like they're all just so weird, and like despite being the blueprint for a lot of modern JRPGs, every Final Fantasy feels unique. And even though like they use a lot of the similar graphics, like the characters you use and the enemies you fight always have like some weird, and there's always weird subsystems, especially like in this one. Say there's a character named Edgar who is a bard, and he's in your party very early, and then he leaves. Edgar will drop an augment that gives you his class skill, which is music, and you can apply that to a character, and you only have so many slots you can apply. So, like, the monk leaves your party, and I put the monk's abilities on Edge, for example, so now my ninja has, like, the monk. So you can still do a little bit of class swapping with this augment system, which I thought was really fun.
I totally forgot about that.
And it's only in the DS version, I believe, but I could be wrong.
It's been like 14 years since I played Final Fantasy IV.
Oh yeah.
For context, that I played it on the DS as well.
You were a wee child. So yeah, I've started 5 and tuned back in 4 months, where hopefully I'll have beaten 5. 5's addicting. The ones where you raise jobs are just so addicting to me, because you get to just mix and match your jobs and find out which ones work for you and don't. And the Pixel remaster is really nice.
By the way, in Final Fantasy Talk related news, just last night I got set up in Final Fantasy 14 with my like story skip, level 80 white mage skip.
Oh shit.
So I am like pretty much good to go. I even bought like the clothes I wanted for my outfit, or the ones I could buy anyway. Because that's my first priority, honestly, is just get the outfit I want.
Of course.
But I'm in the system.
I didn't even know this was happening.
Yeah, we'll talk about
dude.
14 a little later. We have it on because we've been playing
Yeah,
some
stay
14.
tuned. Stay tuned, motherfuckers.
Stay tuned for about an hour from now. Okay.
Yeah, probably.
Let's roll into the big topics, which I guess we'll start with a little big topic. Tell us about Megalobox. Tyler really likes this anime, so...
Oh, man.
Oh, yeah, I remember you talking about it.
Yeah, I told Bradley to watch it. I think this would be a really good Bradley anime.
Yeah,
And it's one of those animes that they spent a good amount of the budget on getting good English voice actors. I would highly recommend watching this in English.
Nice.
They have a great cast of actors. It's done in like a Trigun-esque art style, where it's got like this Badlands, Outlander feel to it, and it's just about boxing. Like that's it. It's such a like underdog fighting story, but Megalobox, they have like super pumped up arms.
Yeah, it's not just about boxing. They're doing super boxing here.
Yeah, it's super boxing now. And it's literally just about the underdog rising up to like be victorious.
A sports anime.
Yeah.
It's a sports anime. Everybody loves an underdog story. The best thing is season 2, and that's what I've recently watched. We have seen the underdog rise up, win, and now you have the fallout of what can happen to humans when they achieve their dreams.
Dude.
And it follows our main character, who has become a pill-ridden, washed-up addict, who has been ostracized by everybody who loves him, and you don't know why. And that's kind of like the plot, is going on his journey of redemption through this season 2. So it's no longer about, it's not about the fight anymore, but it still is, but it's like it's a different fight.
The post fight.
Yeah, there's some great characters that are introduced in the second season that I really love following, and there's a lot of like new returning characters, and also Little Mac is in season 2, so that's cool.
Man, that could mean anything. Little Mac is just a generic short boxer guy.
Exactly. Yeah, that's literally the fucking character. His name is Mac.
Oh shit.
Like Little Mac is just in the anime. It's good. It's short. It's not too long. I like the story, man. I like I like the rise and fall, and like there's obviously, like, not spoiler, there's a rise again, but it's not with the world. Like season 1, it's like man versus the world, you know? And then like season 2 is like the man versus himself concept. Mm-hmm. So he like, once he's done conquering the world, he has to conquer himself. And I really like that story.
This sounds pretty good. It also sounds like Bummer vibes, because it seems pretty gritty. If anyone's interested in a sports anime that's a little more upbeat, Haikyuu is always there for you.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. This one is.
Well, I would say, what's better, Tyler, Haikyuu or Megalo?
Well, Haikyuu got those high vibes, and I really like that.
I'm gonna be jumping into this one.
I would say Megalobox is between. I wouldn't say. Fuck. This is hard. Because Haikyuu, I think I enjoy the best because it has those really high fucking moments, and you know I have a lot of like community to watch it with. Like the Haikyuu community isn't that bad, so like I don't know. When I watched Megalobox, it was very internal, just with me. Like I've not watched this with anybody or talked to anybody else who's watched it. Same with like Run with the Wind, which is another sports anime I really recommend. Yeah. So Run with the Wind is really realistic. Megalobox is really sci-fi, gritty-ish. I don't know. It's good. I would place it up there. Maybe it doesn't have the shonen character moments like Haikyuu does, but it's just as like enjoyable.
Nice. I'll give it a try at some point. It's just my like.
The backlog gets filled, man.
The backlog gets filled, and sports anime are so like they're always good. Like I think it's impossible to make a bad one at this point. But Haikyuu set the bar so high because it's like best writing in anything, not just sports shows.
I would say season 2 of Megalobox is on par with the most recent season of Haikyuu.
Which was the Twins arc?
The Twins, yeah.
I mean, shit, that's my
Because I didn't think
favorite arc.
I don't think the Twins are better than Shira Torizawa. Is that the guy's name?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think that's. I don't think 4 is better than 3. Really good.
Must be an anime thing, because in the manga, those twins slap.
Oh, they fucking slap still, you know. But
They don't have the Tsukishima moment, though. That's like, it's pretty peak. Alright, that's the Megalobox. Fighting game came out. Let's do a quick fighting game talk about DNF Duel. A game that every day that passes, I'm like, how does this game exist? Because you see the wildest shit on Twitter about this game. And I'm just like,
It's been 48 hours. Like, what are you talking about?
Okay, but a lot has happened in this 48 hours. Like, I've seen weird infinites and the craziest combos and weird lost time stop mechanics.
Oh god, I hate
that's
that
the
character.
boss.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the boss character is not supposed to actually break the game. Like, well, I guess
He didn't. Did you not see the guy that he kept hitting and then the guy didn't die?
Yeah, that character also
That's a whole nother thing.
He got skill gapped.
DNF Duel is the most recent Arc System Works fighting game, who you might know from such classics as the Guilty Gear series, or Dragon Ball Fighters, or Blaze Blue.
You know what I realize now about it? The game is Arxis games are becoming more and more approachable. I feel like.
Yeah, this one's very beginner. It's
Yes.
kind of beginner friendly. It's weird.
Yeah, it's
It feels like a Super Smash Brothers anime fighter where each character has like a set of specials, like as a Smash character does.
Yeah, you
Each
can.
character is pretty limited, but apparently
cool
you
way
can
to
get
put it.
creative with it.
I don't think they're limited. Their movesets are nuts.
absolutely not limited.
What's weird about this game is like you have direction plus button to do specials, and now to not get too technical, you're better off doing the input, but you can definitely get by just pressing the direction plus special button.
Yeah.
So
And you
in
can
that
also-
way, it's one of the most accessible fighting games. You can just jump in and do fancy moves without having to know the inputs.
A really good button masher fighting game.
However, this is like one of the hardest execution games I've played in a hot minute.
Yeah.
Like, if you want to get like anywhere above like bronze and silver, you have to like start learning some stuff that is significantly harder than Guilty Gear or Dragon Ball, and those games have like pretty crazy looking combos, but these ones are like, they're long and you have to do really technical movement in a mobility system that's a little sluggish. Like, you move relatively fast, but to get started on a dash, like, you have to time it well. Like, there's no buffering for it. Like, you have to time your post-attack dash perfectly. So, like, it's really sluggish to do some of the crazier combos where you're having to do all, like, these micro movements. Like, Joe plays a character that to do one of their best combos, you have to, like, whiff an attack, which
Yeah.
The concept might not come across, but it's just so weird they have to miss an attack to do the combo.
But it's also like, what's even weirder is because Willer was watching me do it, and I could still jump cancel into the combo and do everything it wanted me to do, but still wanted me to do that whiff combo for some reason. I don't know why.
Yeah, we must be missing something with why it was trying to get you to do that. But we had a very fun launch night with this game, which we've
Yes.
never done before, but circumstances allowed it this time. And it was fun. Everyone was fighting. Everyone was beating each other up. Our friend Trevor was playing with us, and like Trevor's mostly into Tekken as far as fighting games go. So like,
Yeah.
even he was doing cool moves, and Tyler was the menace that night with he's playing Crusader, who's a big Bible thumper, doing god loops, yelling justice.
Yeah, it's the only fighting game I've beaten Willer in where he loses 80% of the time.
Yeah, on that night, things are different now.
Not if I don't ever play again.
Well,
They will stay permanently like that forever.
I suppose, but it don't matter because I'll have the higher rank.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm unranked. I'm not even. You can't even calculate how good I am.
I mean, the calculations, you're 0 right now, so along with the other unranked's.
The limit does not exist.
You know, it's just undocumented. The characters have very... This game is, like, it's crazy. It's a game with no air blocking, but it has, like, the biggest projectiles known to man. So you have to use this, like, fairly well-timed dodge mechanic where, like, the character I play is... It sucks, because she is so cool, but she's, like, all projectiles. Like, she has 2 attacks that are not projectiles, out of, like, 20 moves. And you just have to learn how to use those projectiles well and, like, make combos out of it. So you have to kind of, like, know the speed that my projectiles travel to be able to dodge through them. And then I have to, like, mix up my approach so that I don't make it easy for you to dodge through, because once people get in, they do way more damage than I generally do. So it's a really nice give and take. But then you have, like, Joe's character has insane damage and, like, rush down, and Tyler's character can combo you from mid-screen for fairly cheap. So it's a pretty nutty game for how beginner-friendly it is. It looks pretty as hell, though. Arxis has very good art style. And it's very fun. The meter system in this game is interesting. You start at full meter, and you deplete it with doing your special moves. They all take a cost. And if you overexert yourself, it doesn't recover for a little while. But once it's back to full, you can get as spammy as before. So, like, I feel like Street Fighter 6 would be doing something similar because...
But the drive system?
But the drive system is way more nuanced, and I think they paid a lot of attention to, like, you having to actually keep that balance. While in this one, you can just kind of go ham. And when you go ham, like, it's nuts. You can go for a while. Like, if you're at full meter, every time you get a hit, you're almost always at full meter, so you can always do your crazy combo from no matter where you're on the screen. So it's interesting. But
I think to explain more about the meter, like, the way it works is that whenever you get hit and you're not finished off from that combo by a special attack, you get white health. So white health can recover, but you can convert that white health into mana. So you could, like, go into a combo with white health, deplete your entire bar, then convert, and then have your entire bar back and just keep going.
Yeah. That's a very interesting system that I'm still trying to wrap my head around.
Yeah, I think it's really cool because a lot of risk reward. I think I like the game, but I think the biggest problem with the game is I just don't feel like there's enough defensive options in the game. Like, they just feel there's not nearly as many as there is in Guilty Gear, which isn't a bad thing. It's just not necessarily, like...
Is that true?
I mean, yeah. There's...
Guilty Gear has Faultless Defense and Yellow Roman Cancel, but that's about it.
And Burst. Don't forget Burst.
Well, I don't mind no Burst. It's... You just kind of had, like, the roll is what they really want you to use in this game.
Yeah, but that roll can also be really punishing.
Yeah.
Like, they can punish you hard with that roll. Like, compared to Burst, bursting's pretty safe and resets y'all back to neutral. And, like, the thing about bursting, too, is you only really get it for, like, 1.5 rounds, if even, depending on how quickly those rounds go. So and there's also no air blocking or air dashes, which is crazy in an anime fighter.
Yeah, I mean, I personally like the more grounded approach for these games. The closer you get to Street Fighter and Darkstalkers, the better.
Yeah, I agree. I like the no air blocking. I think it leaves a lot more openness.
But when you combine that with the crazy projectiles, it does get pretty nutty.
Projectiles...
It's not even just projectiles. You also have characters that have moves like the guy with the lance, Vanguard, can just hit you from almost full screen for a full combo. Same with Tyler's character, the Crusader.
Debatable.
Did you see those? You saw those loops, man. Your guys.
And you got Troubleshooter, whose anti-air is the entire screen.
Yeah, Troubleshooter. I fought some Troubleshooters. They can really mess you up, like, for free. Like, with very little, they get a touch, and you are eating 40% health because of the way the mana system works. So, it's fun. But also, like, kind of nutty. It's very different.
I kind of feel
online
like
works well, I'll say, except for me and Joe discovered a bug where if we are on the PS4 version and someone and the others on the PS5 version, we can't join the same lobby. Which is weird.
Yeah.
Because it's supposed to be cross generations, so.
They meant by cross generation, they meant they give you both copies if you buy the PS5. But yeah, it's a fun game. There was another thing that I forgot to mention, but it's whatever now.
Yeah.
What's the next?
Nothing else to say. Tyler, you got anything?
You know what? It's a pretty alright game. DNF Duel. It's alright.
Then tell us about
Yeah.
Demon Slayer, because you finished that, right?
Oh boy, yeah.
Tell me how
I'm gonna-
mid the ending is, because that's around the first time I was hearing the word mid a lot, was when Demon Slayer was ending.
That's what you didn't call. You didn't call Demon Slayer ironically mid. You call it literally mid, unironically mid. Whatever.
Yeah, that's
Yes, you
about
did.
right. No,
Yeah, it's on the podcast. I know this for a fact.
find it. No one can prove it.
I will find it and I will put it in the fucking the timestamp.
No.
Not the timestamps.
Anyway.
You know what? I didn't hate it, so sue me.
Boo.
There was a point in the end where I was like, I don't understand the author's motivation behind it. Like, I'm gonna say this. There's ending part 1, and then there's epilogue. Epilogue, I really enjoyed.
Mm-hmm.
The ending, the like, it ends, and then it like tries to climb back up again, and then it's like, no, we're not gonna do that. And I was like, why did they even do that in the first place? It's unnecessary. Like, there's a point that it's just like, why? Like, it doesn't ruin it for me, but it just does make me go, why even? Like, there is nothing about this that builds suspense in any way or makes me worry. I think it ties in. If I have to think about it, I think the author is trying to tell something about the epilogue or set themselves up for a future story, potentially. Which, if there was a future story to Demon Slayer, I have this to say. I think it would be much more interesting than the current story.
Huh. Oh,
In terms of scenery and setting.
So
I think it would be
what they
much more
set up
interesting.
is interesting, you're saying?
Yes, I and that's the epilogue, and I like that, and I think that was like the motivation why they did what they did.
Beeman Slayer with Banjuro.
Man, it was odd. I'll say that.
Demon Slayer.
Yeah, Seaman Slayer. Joe got it. He nailed it.
No,
I need
God.
to finish up Demon Slayer. I got like I think 50 chapters left. I'm in the final arc, and I feel like we just suddenly got to the end in this final arc. Like we're like, all right, we're doing it. It's like, oh, okay.
Yeah, it moves very quick.
Yeah, it's just like
It always has.
yeah.
That's a fast-ass show.
It is, but like the pacing up until the previous arc felt very good. Like it felt kind of like intentional, and then the blacksmith arc happened, and I was like, there's just a lot of just stuff and things happening all around the place, and then you get introduced to like, oh, this exists. Oh, we're gonna end the series now with this final arc. It's like, oh okay, I guess we will. It's like, all right, fine.
I guess we're doing it now.
Yeah. It's to quote Willer in Avengers Endgame about 20 minutes in. Oh, we're doing this right now?
Yeah. Yeah. It's a quick moving anime. I don't know why they did that. I don't really care.
I think
I don't hate it.
Jump is pushing for shorter series. I think that's why.
I was gonna say I respect it. Get out while the getting's good. Like no need to.
I agree.
No need to push a series past its like breaking point. Because I feel like that's what happened with Naruto, where it was just a little bit too long to where it stretched to a couple of breaking points near the end. Even I still think it's still fairly quality, but it didn't necessarily need to be 700 chapters, and I feel like they're trying to keep their young talent a little healthier, get in, get out, make good anime adaptations, so they don't have to worry about like doing the big budget for 500 chapters. They can do it the big budget anime for 150 chapters, 200 chapters, get in, get out, make a shit ton of money because Demon Slayer is like making so much money for them. So I think it's working out. I think it's a good idea.
Yeah.
And Jujutsu's gonna go through the same thing. I feel like Jujutsu will end in around 200 or 300 chapters. I mean, I have no idea where it's going, but it just feels like that kind of series.
Yeah, I would say it's not mid. It's above. It's up.
I do like
quote
the
the
series.
kids.
I think it's a a good shonen series. Like I think what puts it above up for everyone else is the anime. The anime is so fucking gorgeous. Like I can't argue with that.
Yeah.
Man,
But like
it slaps.
yeah, I think it's fun. I think like there's a reasonable like connection identity you can do here. Like, oh, I want to be this samurai technique or this samurai technique. Like it's very much like One Piece for like you can identify with the crew you want to be in, or like Harry Potter with houses you want to be in. Like it has that like, oh, I identify with this section of this organization. It has that structure to it. And I think like there's enough passable world building in here to make it enjoyable. Not groundbreaking world building, but just passable. That's like, yeah, I can get into this.
I'm trying to think. I feel like, as far as I've read, it's below My Hero, and you can take that as you will.
Mm-hmm. I should read My Hero.
My Hero, low-key, like, pretty good. Like,
Yeah.
I think My Hero gets too much hate. It does a lot of stupid shit, but pretty much when it's not focusing on the class of like main characters, it is like A+ tier.
Really?
Yeah, yeah, it is genuinely really good when it's not about the main characters.
It's
Which
like
is a shame because that's all I ever see on the internet.
Yeah, I feel like other people will echo that, where like the main characters aren't bad, they have ups and downs, that's the thing, but like when it's the adults or the villains, it's like pretty much all ups. It's pretty cool.
Man, there's some great like Fat Gum. Fat Gum has this moment
God
in the anime
damn.
where like he has to who's he protecting? But he has to burn all of his fat to go all out.
He's protecting Kirishima, but then Kirishima gets a cool moment in return and protects Fat Gum. That's like a fairly good part.
Yeah, I really like that character. And then he comes out, he's all buff. He's like, oh, I hate this.
Yeah, like him, Best Jeanist, Hawk and Endeavor, like a lot of good characters. The microphone guy, like the microphone guy, surprisingly good character, as you'll find out next season of the anime. But
Damn, I should just read it because I'll just go by fast.
I think it has some messy action here and there, but I think the art style is really good, and the pacing's fairly good. Even if it jumps the shark that one time, but I think the anime's already gotten there. Anywho. So Demon Slayer ending, Tyler likes.
I liked it.
I look forward to getting there one day. The thing is, like, I have no interest in reading the manga for this one because the anime is just so, like, it really carries it with the art and music.
Mm-hmm. The Red Light District arc is out, and that's a really good arc, I think.
Still need to watch that. But
Yeah,
before any of that, I took a break from my main love right now to do all the One Piece stuff in preparation for our arc tier list and our character tier list stuff. But once that's all wrapped up, it's right back to Jujutsu, which is my recommendation right now. If you want to read the peak manga, it's Jujutsu Kaisen. And according to Tyler, I'm not even at the good part of the arc that we're in right now, so fine.
No, he won't read it.
I just told you when I'm going to read it. I literally just explained.
He won't do it.
I hate
He's
you.
a liar.
All right, time for Willer's TV movie wrap up. I have a
You
list
get 5
of
minutes.
no. I have a list of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 things, and I'm going to order them, maybe from least favorite to most favorite that I've experienced recently. So we're going to start with none other than Rick and Morty, which I decided to catch up on Rick and Morty on my own. This used to be a show that I pretty much only watched when Tyler was over and we had nothing else to do. Mm-hmm. And I was making progress through that. So this will be season 4, the second half of season 4, and the entirety of season 5. And it's all right. You know, it's got a low batting average. I think that's the best way I could explain Rick and Morty. It's got some good episodes. There was a Voltron episode that I thought was pretty cute. It was like a mix of Voltron and like a crime mafia episode, kind of like the chicken episode from Community. From like the first season where they're like monopolizing the cafeteria chicken, and it's doing
Goodfellas
like,
episode.
It's doing the Goodfellas. I was trying to remember what the movie was. There's a good episode with the bird person that's like a fan favorite character. There's a good episode with like a Captain Planet wannabe. I like that one.
Planetina is my favorite episode.
Yeah, I thought that was like a fairly good one that had like they didn't do the message, like it wasn't too nihilistic, but it also like was preachy the right amount. It didn't get like annoyingly preachy. It also has like a very emotional ending. I hope that character comes back. Planetina is the best.
I liked Planetina a lot.
Planetina is cool. You know, there's some things you could say about her relationship with Morty, but we won't get into it. The state in which I was watching Rick and Morty is I was not doing super hot, and I realized that life was weird at the moment where at the end of an episode, Mr. Poopy Butthole says one of the most impactful monologues I've ever seen in anything, and I was like, damn, that hit deep, and it just came from fucking Mr. Poopy Butthole. That's when I knew it was like a new low for me. But I forget which episode it's in, but it was really good. And what I will say, season 5 is much better than 4. It still has a lot of hits and misses, though. That turkey episode is so fucking bad.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm glad you agree. Also, the sperm one is the same episode, and also not great. But the sperm baby comes back in the Voltron episode, and that was pretty neat.
It sure does.
Wait, sperm baby. All babies are sperm babies.
No, this is different.
You know it's damn well different.
He doesn't know. It's different. Just take my word.
Does he not know?
I haven't watched it now.
Okay.
But the last episode of season 5 is everything Rick and Morty fans have been asking for since season 2. Basically, it like straight up does the entire Evil Morty plotline. It's just like boom, we're doing it and we're finishing it. Like.
Cool.
That's just like what people always ask. And it's funny because they're so against having a plot for Rick and Morty, and like when they have a plot, it's the better episodes. So like, it's a damned if you do, but like, the creator doesn't want to do that. They want to make fun Rick and Morty adventures, but like, is it too much to ask to have a balance? Because they seemed so against the idea of even like doing any plot episodes.
It's like one of those, but like they've been teasing this for like a long time.
Yeah, people are interested in it.
Yeah, and like. I don't know. You can't do that. That's literally teasing. Like in the most negative sense.
Yeah, it's not
like
good.
It's not like it's just there because we'll like, keep you hooked on, but we're never gonna fulfill it kind of situation. It's like it's a worse version of Will They Won't They.
Yeah, it is, and it's like they finally did it, and I thought it was really good. I liked like the reasoning behind all the Evil Morty plot line and getting Rick's backstory. That was all really good. So yeah, mid show. 6 out of 10. No, it's fine. Like I said, there's some good episodes still, but I think I will say a majority of episodes are misses or near misses. But then like the episodes that are hits are still pretty good. So that's Rick and Morty. What's my next favorite thing I watch? We'll talk about Stranger Things season 4. So Tyler, you've also seen this, right?
Yep.
So Stranger Things season 4 came. 7 of 9 episodes came out. What a weird split. These episodes are lengthy. They're an hour plus, most of them. The last one's an hour and a half, so it's a full feature-length film. And the Duffer Brothers are really proud of that. They were like hyping up that fact before the season came out. How do you feel about this season, Tyler? Because the general consensus on the internet is that this season is like the best one since season 1. It's gotten us back on track. Like, I feel like Stranger Things is hype again. Culturally,
the internet's fucking stupid, including us, but not as stupid.
Dare I say we're less stupid.
I think this is the worst season
I
so far.
agree. Oh my god, thank you.
Like, it's really hard because a pandemic happened between season 3 and season 4.
Yeah.
It's really hard on the industry as a whole. But they don't even address the fact that everyone looks 3 years older.
Yeah,
And
like the kids are now freshmen, but they're all adults in real life now, but they're freshmen.
Yeah, they're all 18.
Yeah.
Steve is 30.
No.
Fun fact.
No, shut the fuck up.
He is 30. Yeah.
No. That's bad, dude. That's not good. You know, he's doing good. I couldn't really tell.
He's great. Except there's that one scene you go just like, man, Steve is really fucking hairy for a guy who was like 19. And you go, oh,
they make like a joke about it where like Nancy's like, awooga, I like hairy men. Good on you, Nancy. You've always been the best.
I think this season's the weakest.
And to preface that, I've actually thought season 2 and 3 of Stranger Things were as good as the first season. Like, I was not on that train where like Stranger Things fell off. I was like, not really. I think it's been consistently pretty good.
Yeah, and the problem is I don't think any of the plots are weaker than the other. Like, people like to talk shit about the Russian plot line.
In which season? Because there's one in
season 4. 4.
I talk shit about the Russian. I think the Russian plot line is really bad.
It's no better than the California plot line.
Oh, you mean comparative? I think it's because here's the thing. The California plotline at least has some, like, characters are interacting and doing fun things here and there. You got, like, a new character in our guy. You got, like, Mike and Will reconnecting again. So there's something there.
Yeah.
The Hopper plotline is so fucking long and boring. Joyce and Murray aren't really connecting. So they're just, like... There's a plane crash that they just walk off in this season like it's nothing. There's... Like, Hopper breaks his foot, like, almost clean off, and then it's just fine 30 minutes later. He escapes a prison by himself with that broken foot. It's nutty. Like, it's longer than it needs to be. I feel like they introduced that character that captured them, Tyler, for no good reason, just to, like, pad out the storyline a little bit.
Oh, I never said, and, like, all this contributes to, like, it's bad.
11's storyline's also kind of like, I thought it started good with like the bullying angle. No. That's always fun.
Yeah, like,
and then it got awful. Like,
I'll say Elle's plot is the worst.
It's like
every
3
time
episodes of her playing, what's it called? Is it Peggle? The game where you drop the thing?
She's playing
It's
Peggle.
3 episodes of her playing Peggle.
She's playing 90s Peggle, by the way, which is Plinko.
What?
It
Yeah,
is not
Plinko.
Peggle,
Sorry.
it's
Like,
Plinko.
what the fuck were they thinking? And I don't know. Were you surprised by the reveal with Vecna?
Like a little, yeah. I was not. I didn't know why that guy was in the story. I just assumed he died.
I knew he was number 1.
I didn't.
And I didn't know he was. I knew he was Vecna, but I didn't know the son part. That's like because it's like a triple plot twist in one.
He's the like you realize it as it about to happen, as it's revealed, and I think it was pretty good. I had no idea. I hadn't looked anything up on the internet. I had been off Twitter.
Yeah.
So I was pretty safe. I think I watch shows pretty well and pay attention, and I didn't see that coming until the last episode.
That's good. I think
I wasn't thinking about it either. Like, the character was insequential to me.
Yeah, I was like, why is he here? Like, why are we spending so much time on this plot line if it's just like, if it was Elle killed everyone, we're spending too much time here, so it has to be something else. So I kind of pieced it together from that. I think there's too many characters now. God damn, this cast is massive, and they added a couple of new characters this season when there's not really room to do so. And I also think it's pretty imbalanced where, like, some characters are written really flawed. Like, you have Mike, or you have Eleven, or Nancy, or Jonathan, like, actual flawed characters. And then you have the characters that are like, these are the fan favorites, so we're just gonna give them all the good scenes, and they're gonna do all the cool stuff, and they're gonna have, like, they have no flaws. And I'm kind of getting tired of, like, Dustin, Steve, and Robin just being kind of like
the main characters.
Yeah, like the kind of like Mary Sue's Gary Stu's situation where, like, you write some of these characters so that the fan base can, like, hate them pretty much, and then you write these characters to be perfect paragons, and it just can't. It gets a little too quirky and annoying.
Here's, like, my thing is I don't know if Joe or Bradley have watched it.
No.
Only season 1.
I watched season 2, and I fell asleep through most of it.
Okay, so I'm good. Yeah, you were talking about, like, Dustin and them being, like, the clutch is right now, and I'm like, I kind of said it on episode 4 or 5, maybe. It was when Steve gets transported into the Upside Down. The Russo brother, or is it not? It's not the Russo brothers. Who is it?
Oh god, there's some brothers.
Yeah, there's some brothers. They're like,
Huffer? Oh, no.
They're like, ooh, somebody's gonna die this season, and I'm like, it should be very.
It's not gonna be Steve.
No, it should be very obvious who dies if we continue on this path, and it would be good writing if it died, and if they don't, then I'm gonna be like, that's kind of a missed point. Dustin has been set up to be killed, like, very blatantly.
You think Dustin's gonna? Oh, dude,
yeah,
you are capping, brother.
Dustin is too strong.
Dustin's so overpowered, he cannot be killed.
Dustin is so overpowered. They have to kill him to have any sense of, like, drama in the show.
They have the perfect character who's funny and always super smart and has a girlfriend who is a government tier hacker, and she's a Mormon girl who's 12. So it's so like,
wow.
The character who would die, Hopper should have died last season. It's so. Also,
Hopper's,
the explanation for how Hopper's alive is baffling. It is, like, nuts.
Imagine if Hopper had died last season, we wouldn't have the Hopper plot point this season.
Yeah, like, Joyce and Murray could be in the current plot line.
If Hopper hadn't died last season, we wouldn't have the L plot point this season.
Oh man!
And we could have better things happening.
That's wild. Also, like, the one good plot line is Max. Max is, like, the standout character this season, I think. When she was always kind of... Max is the red hair girl who's like the main character.
I was still stuck on Mac from Lil Mac.
Yeah, of course. Lil Mac's the best character. Her scene in episode 4 is, like, one of the best scenes in the show. So there's definitely, like, there's some highs this season, but like we're mentioning, that, like, some of the plots are, we'll say they're either paced badly or inconsequential. Like, how's the Hopper plotline gonna even play into the rest of the season?
Who fucking knows? Like, Ella's gonna teleport them from Russia? Like, whatever.
I guess so. She's in. I don't know. I don't fucking know. I'm not even gonna pretend to.
No, that's actually what's gonna happen. Like, a gate's gonna open up or some shit, and then they're gonna instant transmission.
So your guess is, like, Dustin's gonna die? I think Jonathan's gonna die.
I could also see Jonathan dying. Like,
that's actually now that you mention that, Jonathan's 100% dead. Like,
like, Jonathan makes a very good candidate to die as well for the Nancy Steve romance.
For two big reasons. It gives Nancy more trauma, and they love that, and it gives Nancy a good reason to fuck Steve, and everyone wants that. So
yeah, and it, like,
I feel so bad for Jonathan.
Everybody will not like Steve if Nancy and Steve get back together. They're just not gonna like it. So if they kill Jonathan, though, then it's okay. Then he's dead.
Plus, he's always stoned now, so he's, like, moving a little slow. So,
yeah,
like,
he is stoner boy.
Yeah, he's big stoner boy now. Okay.
Rock hard.
Next up, moving on, this will be faster. The Boys Season 3. I've talked about The Boys before on the show. It is the gritty superhero show about what if superheroes were realistic and their morals were not aligned with good.
Hey, I'm gonna actually mute for this one because I haven't got to watch it yet.
No spoilers. It's just
Okay, no spoilers.
It's the best season. Have you watched any of The Boys?
Yeah, I'm all caught up except for the newest season. I was waiting on it to end.
Cool. Like, I've mentioned before, I think The Boys is a good show. I think there's a lot of things in it that put me off, but also, like, there's a through line of good writing that has always carried the show, and the character of Homelander is S+ tier, always. And in this season, boy, Homelander's going places. None of them good. And the plot is moving. They're pulling the trigger. Like, I expected this show to kind of drag its feet because it's so popular.
That's what I was worried about.
They are moving the plot a lot this season, so it's easily the best season. I actually don't have as much to complain about as usual. I think the conflicts are pretty good. There's still all sorts of, like, plot contrivances. Like, just like the show takes itself, like, this is a realistic take of, like, what if people without superheroes have to keep the superheroes in check? It's like, not quite. Like, the superheroes get away with so much nonsense in the show for no good
I did
reason.
see something about, like, the female Homelander had a moment that didn't really line up with something that happened in season 2.
No, there's no problem with Stormfront this season. And that's all resolved pretty quickly, too.
Okay.
There's, like, one scene that's a little weird where, like, Kimiko and Frenchie do a musical at some point that is, like...
I love Frenchie.
Frenchie has a interesting plot line this season, I'll say. And Butcher is more interesting. Butcher's, like, the peak edgy, like, that... I'm kind of mixed on the character. He has his moments, but he also puts me off a lot, but he's good this season. And Homelander's son, Ryan, I think is actually a really good character for the story.
Oh, he's still a character?
He's not, like, super prevalent, but he shows up, and the dynamic of Homelander, Butcher, and Ryan is really good. So, the season's not over yet. New episodes come out every Friday, and I think we are, like, there's, like, 3 episodes left, I think, so I'll talk about it next podcast to see if it wrapped up good. Finally, we have RRR. This is a Indian movie.
Don't forget Peacemaker.
That is... Oh, I haven't. We're going in order.
Okay.
Cool. RRR is a movie that I think Tyler would really like. It is...
Probably.
It's an Indian, like... Apparently not Bollywood. There's something called Tollywood. I don't know if y'all heard of it. It's a Tollywood movie. I've learned the term. This is the first, like, hardcore Indian movie I've watched, and it was a trip.
I watched about an hour of it today. I got to the point where the train exploded.
Oh, cool. So the movie started.
Yeah.
So this movie's too long. I wish I could come here and tell you it's the perfect movie, like the internet kind of gaslit me into believing. It is not the perfect movie, but it is very good and very fun. This is the most manly movie I have ever watched. It is filled with testosterone. These are, like, you know those One Piece characters like Odin or Whitebeard or Roger, where it's like the paragon of manhood, but they're not realistic, like, because they're just so beyond anything we could ever strive to be. That's these two main characters.
I was about to say, just looking at the poster for it, I assumed they were some, like, folk heroes from, like, real mythology.
I think a lot of the writing is evoking Indian folk stories.
Here's the important bit. Those two characters are two Indian revolutionaries that never met. So they are based off... It's a what-if scenario. Those two revolutionaries met each other, and what would happen if they actually met up and teamed up.
That's so interesting. Yeah, okay, like, to set the stage here. 1920, India is still taken over by the Raj Empire of Britain. And they are assholes. They are not kind.
Dicks.
They're a bunch of dicks, not kind, very racist. And the movie is about two characters, one representing fire and one representing water, both letters with R. Both words that have R in it, rather. And they definitely make sure you understand that. And the fire character is a police officer who's working for the Raj, so he's kind of like a race traitor, viewed by many people. and the other is a tribal man who they set this guy up so cool where it's like, hey, there's this village of kind of like tribal Indian people, and they're pretty chill. They're very submissive. Like, you can do whatever you want to them. But if you take one of their own, they will send a man who will take that person back, like, come hell or high water. And that is the water character. They introduced him in, like... Actually, they introduced both of these characters in the most insane, cool scenes.
It was it's really... The introduction to both of them was awesome.
They set these characters up really well, and like Joe mentioned, about 40 minutes, 50 minutes in, they finally meet and the movie starts. When they meet, Joe, the next scene you're going to watch is going to be a condensed, like, 5-minute, 7-minute montage of the greatest friendship ever made.
I was in the middle of watching that.
That was awesome.
You go from them doing this insane saving of a little boy to them frolicking through the fields, goofing off, picking each other up.
Did we just become best friends?
Yes, literally.
This sounds like the Epic of Gilgamesh, where it's just like two nigh unstoppable godly men running around having adventures.
That's very accurate. Epic, like, this is epic, not in like the colloquial sense. This is a very epic story. And yeah, like, they make the best friendship. The movie is also, like, the action's really cool. It's got some cheap CG and effects, but they kind of add to the charm. It's, like, really sincere, though.
But they're not, like, cheap, like, I pay you $5 and put the purple Hulk in the background. Like, it's passable enough.
It's passable enough. Now, you haven't gotten to the scene with the most CGI, Joe, so we'll see how you feel about... I still think it's passable, but some might beg to differ.
The scene with the tiger and the wolf was pretty good.
I thought that scene was badass. There's a scene with many more animals. It gets nutty.
There was a whole, like, thing at the beginning of the movie that's like, we didn't use any animals here. Every animal you see.
Apparently,
is CGI.
India has very strict laws on any sort of animal abuse in these movies. So they're like, yep, everything's CG. There's one plot line that I just don't like in this movie, and it's the water character. I think his name is Beam. Is like flirting on this one white lady, like the one good white person in the movie, because you gotta have one. And it just doesn't make sense. She has no reason to find this man charming. They never understand each other or speak the same language the entire film. So it's like kind of odd. But there's a musical scene with these characters that is fire emoji, 3 fire emojis. Always. Yeah, apparently that's a thing that's got to happen in these Hollywood movies.
Yeah, every time. You should
fire emojis?
No, musical scene.
Musical scene. But I guess also fire emoji. And like I said, the movie's too long, but some of these... The story's actually pretty captivating. I think both characters have really good motivations. The friendship and drama between these characters is really good. I didn't mention, the cop is looking for his best friend. So before they meet, the cop is tasked with finding this man, because this man's going to show up and kill all the royals to get this girl back that we stole from his village. And the cop is like, I have to ascend to the highest tier that a police officer can ascend in this government. And to do so, I will capture this man. So they meet and become best friends, not knowing that they're playing cat and mouse with each other. And that's kind of like fun. Where the drama is taking place, and it goes places. So highly recommend this movie.
Like in this montage, whenever they separate, they go do their secret investigative work of each other, basically. Yeah. But they don't realize they're investigating each other.
It's semi-believable. It's not the worst thing.
Yeah. A lot of English in this movie too.
Yeah, I was actually surprised. I didn't know this was on Netflix, so I downloaded a ROM that had delayed subtitles halfway through. Around the train scene, the movie shit itself. So I found out I didn't have to do that at all, so I watched it through Netflix, and half of the movie's in English, which is nice.
Yeah.
Again, Tyler, throw this on. Like, I say throw it on. You don't have to pay attention, but I think the story and sincerity of it is so good that you're forced to pay attention.
It'll be a good movie I have on in the background when I'm running MSQ.
Exactly. Exactly.
The RR sounds for Rise, Revolt, Roar, or Rise, Roar, Revolt, something along those
Something
lines.
in those order.
Yeah.
Joe, the last 2 fight scenes in this movie are fucking bonkers. They're so good.
Yeah. The thing about like Bollywood and Tollywood is that they've been doing live action anime for years. It's just like
we just haven't caught on yet.
yeah, like no one's.
I heard it best. It's like Kojima writing, where subtleties for cowards. There is no subtlety. Like
Yes.
we're going to tell you what it's about, and you're gonna like it.
Yeah.
Y'all are catching up to me finally.
Hey, there's always been room in my heart for no subtlety movies. It just it has to be executed well. Speaking of no subtlety, this movie, so they represent fire and water. This movie will go out of its way to have scenes with both fire and water and correlate these characters to these elements, and I never got tired of it. It was so good. Deadass. I wanted them to get superpowers by the end and control their elements. Like I wanted them to just tear everything apart with their elemental powers, and it sort of happens, but not quite how I wanted it.
Man, the fire guy gets introduced, and the first time you see him is literally through some guy throwing fire rocks in the fence, and you just see him through the fire.
And you meet the water guy through the reflection of a water. It's all over. It's actually kind of dope. Like, fuck subtlety.
I'm fine with that, so long as you're like really intentional about it. Like, yeah, go all out. Love it.
All right, finally, Peacemaker. This is the best thing I watched. This is a phenomenal show. People were hyping it up, and I was like, yeah, it should be pretty good. It has, I will say, it has all the strengths and all the weaknesses of a James Gunn film. Because it's written by James Gunn. I think he might direct some of the episodes, but the whole script is written by him. Where when the comedy hits, you love it, but there will be comedy misses. Mostly in jokes that go on for a little too long. But it also has the strengths where it's like, by the end of it, you freaking love these characters and their bonds and their, like, group dynamic. This man is kind of brilliant at writing good group dynamics, I'm coming to realize, because the Suicide Squad was so good. Like, what a justifiably good movie, and this is the follow-up to that. So, I think they picked the right character. John Cena is an insanely good actor. I think he's really underrated, and he really he's the best actor in this movie, in this TV show. There's a lot of good actors. There's the character called Vigilante. He's kind of the new character introduced in this, and he is such a weird, interesting character where he's kind of this dweeby kid who is just really good at killing people. Like, he is a savant when it comes to killing people, and so he introduces himself as like a character of like, yeah man, Peacemaker, don't you miss when we used to go out and like get people for breaking banks or selling heroin or spray painting, like graffitiing, and you're like, ugh. This, like, it's basically someone who uses justice as a means to just go out and do what they're good at, which is killing people. And he's just a complete sociopath, but he's also like really cute in weird ways, like just a very weird character.
Just the darndest kid.
Just the darndest little fucker. Very unique character. This also has the crew of people that were supporting the Suicide Squad in that movie, where they were like in the room with Amanda Wallace, and they like knock her out at the end of Suicide Squad so they can help the
people in the chair.
Yeah, the chair people, and they all get fleshed out. There's 2 new people to the chair people. They're the second and third best characters. That blonde girl from that movie is very attractive and very good in this as well. She's got a great character arc.
Yes.
I will say, like, the first 2 episodes were a little slow. They're really good to reintroduce you to Peacemaker as a character, introduce you to the squad, and introduce you to Vigilante. But they're also kind of slow. There's like a 20 to 30 minute scene where Peacemaker has to escape a apartment building without getting caught, and it's like kind of funny, but also like it's going on for a little while. But after that point, it just picks up dramatically, and the plot goes places that you would not expect for a Peacemaker show. And the through line of the show is that line that Peacemaker says in the Suicide Squad, where he says, "I will do anything for peace and justice. I will kill as many men, women, and children I need to do it." and the entire show is kind of crafted around that ethos, and whether or not he really means it, if that's the person he actually is, and what it would look like if something was going that hard in the name of peace. And I think it really nails that theme. And we'll leave it at that. Like, I think it's better than any of the MCU shows, and I like every MCU show. So that, like, should go to show you that I really like this. And when DC hits, it really hits because it's unique. Like, I think MCU is all consistent, but they're samey. Like, they have that consistency level. Because the DC movies and shows are so fucking out there, when they hit, they really feel different from the rest. And I'm glad that they've gotten to a point where, like, they'll never have a good universe, but I think they've gotten to a point where they do have good projects, and I think that's good for them.
I mean, they have the Suicide Squad universe.
Yes, now they do. It consists of 2 things because
No, 3.
Semi-retcon that first one. You know.
Nope, it's 3. You can't just take it
3.
out.
Yeah. Also, I don't know if I should say. Is anyone gonna watch this? I want to say one small spoiler.
I was gonna watch it.
Okay. Can I say this?
I'm not gonna watch it. I might, but still tell me because I don't care enough.
You should
Yeah, I
watch
wanna
it. The Justice League shows up in the last episode, and I was not fucking expecting that.
Wow. Like actually.
Like that, it's them. Not only Barry and Aquaman talk because they have stuff coming up, and they're probably the cheapest. But I thought it was in a really good scene. And also, Peacemaker says the dumbest shit about other superheroes. He's like, you know, Aquaman fucks fish, and like you hear that all the time. But he's like, he talks shit about Batman. He's like, something about like Superman having like an anal fixation. He just sees shit on the internet and talks. And they're like, dude, what are you talking about? None of that is real. And then they're like, well, no, Aquaman does fuck fish, though. I'm like, yeah, right. So like, people constantly like shit on like the Justice League, and it's cool because it still does feel like connected in this weird way.
That's actually really funny.
Again, I think you would all like this show. It's on HBO and other resources. So, all right, Joe, you asked for 5 minutes. You got 5 minutes per, more or less. Now tell me about Disney Mirrorverse.
That's a Bradley thing.
Yeah,
You're playing
so
it
this
too.
game.
I am, but like not as much as Bradley.
Yeah, so this freaking game, it's made by Kabam, which is the people who made Marvel Contest of Champions, which I actually played for years in high school and college. And I thought it was going to play exactly like that, which is exactly like the Injustice mobile game, where it's like side to side and, I don't know, tap this for this attack, tap this for this attack. And it kind of is that, but it's also in a 3D arena, which is really cool. And it's not just 1v1 at a time, it's 3 characters at a time versus 3 characters at a time, or if it's PvE, sometimes like 10 enemies at a time.
Joe explained it kind of like playing Kingdom Hearts a little bit, where like you have AI partners doing their thing.
Man, you know, I kind of felt that earlier today in my head. I was like, my characters jumped out into the battle, and I was like, they look like Kingdom Hearts characters getting ready to fight. It's also just really fun because I think it's a very approachable game, but there's depth there if you want to look for it. Like, for example, right now the person I'm using the most and pouring all my resources into is Captain Hook, and he's a good 1v1 character because, like, you know, there's like an event mode where you can like 1v1 characters, but primarily the game is like 3v3. Captain Hook has stuff where it's like if he's the only one on your team attacking an enemy, he gets massively increased defense and decreases the enemy's attack, stuff like that. But the thing is, he only gets that bonus if the enemy doesn't have a shield, if they're not shielded. So it's like, oh, I can use Buzz Lightyear because his ult completely removes all armor and shields from the enemy team. And then, of course, you know, if you are going against a Captain Hook, it's like, oh, I could have Maui because he passively grants everybody on my team armor, so Captain Hook can't activate his passive. And I'm probably the only person thinking that hard about it right now.
Here's the thing. I think MOBA game, not MOBA, gacha games are really underrated because like to make a gacha game successful, you need to have enough mechanics to keep rolling out characters, and because you need to have that loop, it forces you to kind of make cool strategy. I feel like almost every gacha game I've played has very cool strategy stuff going on. And I know I complain about it like, oh, gacha stuff gets in the way of Genshin, but I also think like Genshin's gacha is like really mean to the user. I feel like the mobile games tend to have much fairer gambling, as it were.
Yeah, and this is pretty fair. I feel like they give you a lot of stuff, and this is an energy focused game like a lot of these are. I'd probably say, based on the free energy capsules they give you off the bat, I was able to play for many hours, like maybe 4 or 5, before I had to actually wait for my energy to charge once.
The game just came out, right, recently?
It just came out less than a week ago.
It's worth noting that every gacha will flood the player with resources at the start. And I mean, some keep doing it. Like, people were saying, oh, when Pokemon Unite after the opening, you're gonna get no money or resources. It's like, no, they actually upped all the resources you get. So I hope it's the same for this.
It was a pretty good. I really liked this middle ground they had with the amount of free energy they gave me, because if I first download a gacha game, I'm pretty much going to play it until I can't play it anymore that first night. So that kind of let me binge a little bit, and then quiet down for a little bit. And then of course, the next time I play, I level up, and then it refills all my energy, and then I play, and then it refills all my energy, and so that's always fun. And then they give you a lot of free crystals, which is really cool. Pulling for characters is a lot of fun, especially when you have one you really want to get. Like Tinkerbell, for example, the character designs are really cool. Tinkerbell, you can see she's a little fairy floating out in front, but she summons a giant glowing avatar of herself behind her that shoots laser blasts.
I think that's such a fun way to do Tinkerbell. That's awesome.
Yeah, and in Gaston is just Gaston, except he has a giant crossbow made out of bone. And I don't know.
Jack Skellington's pimped out.
Yeah.
Jack Skellington looks sick.
I think they have some good character designs for a lot of them, but there are some characters I'm just like, I don't exactly like that design. Like Woody's is weirdly sexy.
Yo, I'm so glad you said that. That's exactly what I said. I saw him and I was like, why is Woody sexy?
Show me sexy Woody right now.
It's not okay.
It's so weird. And the thing is, Buzz Lightyear looks like he has a forklift on him, but he already has a spacesuit. Why do you need to over weaponize his spacesuit? It's so weird.
It's also funny because you'll have the people like Hercules who are they went all out with their design, upping them. Hercules looks like a Greek god, and then Judy Hopps is just Judy Hopps from the fucking movie.
Weird. I mean, that's all you need, right?
That's all you need.
I'm sure they're gonna release the same characters in different costumes because it's a gacha.
That's very cool. And there's still a lot of characters they could add.
All right, I'm downloading this shit. Oh man.
All right, here's sexy Woody.
Willard, join our alliance.
Let me see how I feel about the gameplay.
Hold up. What are alliance benefits?
So alliance benefits as you play the game, just complete missions, stuff like that.
Okay, yeah.
Your alliance cumulatively gets points, and your alliance gets rewards.
How do we play together?
Yeah. Oh wait, no, it's not
What? Why the?
It's not real time multiplayer.
It's you're helping each other out with resources. Yo, Woody looks like McCree or whatever he's called now.
He does. Oh, what did they change his name to?
I don't know. LGBTQ ally man.
I think you're right. I think that is what they call him.
He just looks weird. It's
No, yeah, it's uncomfortable. He's really too sexy. It's not okay.
It's really bad. Let's see. I'm trying to look up McCree's stupid name now.
No, the only character I'm disappointed with, tremendously, is Jack Sparrow, because instead of using a sword or a gun,
Yeah.
They get turned one of his arms into a skeleton arm, and he shoots out little purple clouds of darkness.
Wait, I mean, that's cool in its own way because he's a ghost in the first movie. He doesn't have a body.
But also, he's a healer, and I'm like,
Oh, what the fuck? I mean,
I don't like his moveset.
if he's
Like,
self-healing with rum, maybe.
now, some characters have awesome movesets. Like Stitch, for example, can shift forms like to his metallic form, where
Whoa.
he gets like a defense buff and he can't bleed out. And then like if you ult after you shift into his metallic form, there's like a window where you can go into like his immolation form where he's on fire and you'll burn enemies you attack.
Cool.
I'm downloading this as a future investment for the 1% chance that they add Kingdom Hearts characters in a special crossover event.
That would be badass.
Technically, they're all Kingdom Hearts characters.
I mean, but I'm saying, like, let me play as Sora or Riku.
I know, right?
Donald's in the game. I actually like Donald's design. He fights with a giant ass anchor.
Donald's
What?
pretty cool.
Donald's an
Yeah.
anchor fighter and you didn't think to tell me
Yeah,
this?
Yeah.
I'm telling you.
You know I love anchor fighters.
His whole mechanic is like he could be in passive aggressive mode or aggressive passion mode. And if he's in passive aggressive mode, every time you hit him, he gets more defense. And then when you turn on the other mode, he converts all of his defense buffs to attack buffs.
That's a good design. That's good design for Donald. I like it.
Dude, you know what I just found out today? Minnie Mouse is a fire-based fist fighter.
Okay, that's a bit of a reach.
No,
Yeah.
dude, it actually looks kind of funny.
I've downloaded it. I'll let y'all know what I get.
Also, other thing, you can play as Dwayne The Rock Johnson.
Yes, I have him.
What do you mean, Maui?
No,
from
yeah,
the
no.
Jungle
Dwayne
Cruise
The
movie.
Rock Johnson.
Oh, weird.
Yeah.
It looks exactly like him.
So can
I was weird. I was like, what the fuck? Why?
they could add Marvel characters to this and just make $1 billion, right?
They really could, dude.
Yeah.
This
But,
could this could get nutty if they so desire.
You
So
know
yeah,
they
Just
really
came out, even though
will.
they're gonna come out with more characters.
So here's the other thing too: is like these are Disney properties, and they're very much catered for family and kids, and like, that's kind of weird in my opinion, right? Like you have the potential of these kids getting really invested into this, and so spend money on gambling for these Disney characters.
Look. It's genuinely a parent's fault if their kids are fucking doing
Yeah.
gotcha. Like,
I mean,
I'm not
I
here
think
to
it's also
baby your
correct.
children, okay?
Because look, the kid is not the one who went to the bank and got the fucking credit card and put it in the fucking iPad.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like,
you're not wrong.
I'm sorry that you want to shove an iPad in your kid's face so you don't have to parent them, but like it's your fault when the money goes away. And also,
Yeah.
like, Fortnite is much more dangerous. Fortnite has probably put families bankrupt at this point. At least one family has gone bankrupt from little Jimmy Fortniting it up too hard.
Fucking Jimmy.
God damn it.
Jimmy.
Saul,
Jimmy
some
McGill.
might call him. But not our Jimmy. Couldn't be precious Jimmy. Alright. That's Mirrorverse, I'm assuming.
Yeah.
Everybody buy Toriko.
Yeah.
Of course. Man, Toriko. Tyler, why don't you lead us off in some Barry talk? I have watched season 3 as well.
Yeah, man, I like season 3 of Barry the most so far because Barry hits the fan, literally. Not shit hits the fan. Barry just goes batshit mental.
He
this
does.
season.
Very early, too. Like,
Yeah, like he is just off the rails. A
Don't say fucking
shattered
sorry.
man. And we talked about the gimmick, and I think it's a Simpsons haunted house of horror where like Bart or Lisa kill somebody, and then then someone else sees it, and then they have to kill them.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And that's just what the show is, and it's oh boy, I really liked the build up for this season. I had to wait week to week to watch like episodes 7 and 8, and that really sucked because episode 6 was really good, and then 7 really sucked, and then 8 was really good.
What happened in 7 again, if you remember?
I don't remember exactly.
Yeah.
Isn't that when they were all attacking him?
No, that was 8.
No.
And that, I mean, if we're getting there, that's the best scene in Barry, period. That big bike chase scene, the way they used audio in that scene, the choreography, that it was just peak Barry, if I dare say. I will say, I don't know if this was my favorite season. I think the drama is way more pronounced this season. Like, NoHo Hank actually goes through shit and has to murk a dude. Like, we've gotten to the point where, like, drama is high, right? But the plot armor is still really high, and, like, plot conveniences, like, there's a plot thread in this season where Fuchs, who just is quickly becoming the worst character that is dragging the show down a lot for me, Fuchs tells people that Barry, like, family members that Barry has killed, that it was Barry. And then with no evidence, these people are like, okay, let's all go kill Barry. So they set up this cool plot thread of, like, the people who Barry has taken people away from them are now all gunning for Barry, even if they're not experienced. It's a lot of people. But it's just so flimsy and circumstantial to get there that it kind of put me off from that plot thread a little bit.
Yeah, it's still just probably like an average show. It's not like the next Breaking Bad or anything. It's a good HBO show.
Look, dude, people put Barry in top 4 conversations, and I'm just like, okay.
You know, that's probably the same people that are like season 4 of Stranger Things is the best ever. So you got to give them some doubt.
Could be.
They're probably just 15-year-olds on the internet, and that's okay.
I have to remember that they're out there.
Yeah, like it'd be like that, you know? Not to say that there's anything wrong with being 15 and on the internet.
No, there kind of is. Get off the internet, at least social media.
Go do your fucking homework. I know it's the summer, but you should be doing homework right now.
Find homework to do.
No, 15 is like when you're about to finally drive. Like, find a friend who's 16 and go get in some shenanigans. Don't post your opinions on the internet.
Yeah.
You do that when you're our age. When you're old and
once you get to
senile.
college, you can finally get social media. IMO.
Yeah, so it's all right. I don't know. Like, I like the show. I enjoy watching it.
I do too.
People like, it's a dark comedy, and I'm like, sometimes it's not really. It's like they kind of get to decide when they want it to be comedic and when they want it to be dark, and I think they do a really good balance of that.
I think the balance is fucky, like I mentioned before. But it definitely felt like a more serious season. I actually really like the plot thread of, like, Fuchs gets killed one episode and then is fine, and then he gets hot, like, New Mexico tribal girls all over him, and he's just so petty and revengeful that he's like, nah, I'm gonna throw all that away to hunt down Barry.
I'm gonna steal this fucking pickup truck.
Yeah, I was like, that's a good way to use this character, I guess.
Yeah.
The girls' plot was weird this season. That last scene with her felt very forced to me. It was an intense scene, though. It was very good acting.
Yeah.
But it's just like... it's something where, like, sitcoms were like, we're gonna make a character now kill a person, and then we're gonna see how that impacts them. It's like, it just didn't feel like that kind of story. She's an actress. Like, her story is about acting in the industry. So, alright, sure. Like, the NoHo Hank one made more sense. I like that plot thread. That scene where he's in the jail cell, and it's just like, all these noises are terrifying him is really well acted. I like that scene a lot. Apparently, when they filmed that, Bill Hader was directing that episode, and there was no noise. He was just describing what NoHo Hank was supposed to be hearing, and then the actor acted it out, and it's like, wow, y'all killed it. Good job.
Yeah.
Good acting in this show. I will give him that.
Yeah.
Man, there's some good bits. Like when Barry's trying to blow up a bomb and he's on the help desk.
That is so fucking funny.
Yeah, I'm having an issue with the detonator app. It's One Connect. 1 second. What's your account?
That is
So
like,
good.
is that that might be my best bit in the whole show. That was so good. Yeah, the show still has plenty of funny moments. So, is that all on Barry then?
Yeah, I think so.
On Barry, it's a good show. If you have nothing else to watch, it's on HBO.
Yeah.
You can probably find it for free online somewhere. Just do it.
HBO has, I think, the best
Library.
Yeah,
Because
I've really
their
been enjoying
movies are
HBO.
so good too. Like I bought HBO, which is why I've been watching I bought it and immediately canceled it, and I was like, all right, 30 days. Let's see how much how much HBO I
Yeah.
can watch. Some of us have been playing Final Fantasy 14.
Some of us have been. Some of us are starting and not telling anybody.
Yeah, Bradley doesn't talk to us. He just
Yeah, no,
shows
it was
up in
kind of on a
secrets.
whim with my cousin, and it was really cool. So I got my character. At least I got my white mage. It'll probably just be like once or twice a week or something to do like raids or.
Yeah.
What I really want to do is that mode that's kind of like a
Pokemon simulator.
yeah, it's like it plays like Final Fantasy 12 Revenant Wings. It's like a little tactics kind of thing, real-time strategy thing with
Oh.
minions.
Oh right, okay, that yeah.
So I'm very excited about that. But that means I have to collect a ton of minions.
But hey, like, that game is huge. The one thing I would give Final Fantasy 14 always is like how many side activities you can do, and how many mechanics they've added over the year. It's really good, and like, not just like side mechanics. Like you can play the entire Final Fantasy 8 mini game Triple Triad, which is one of the greatest mini games ever added to a video game. You can go collect monsters, like Bradley's saying. You can become like Ashlyn and become this weirdo obsessed with the markets in the game who just makes a bunch of wooden things.
I have to
Clothes.
weave.
Yeah, she has to weave. There's a lot you can do, and all of that is fine and dandy. And then you have to like slog through a Realm Reborn, and
Yeah, you have to do your MSQ
you
veggies.
you have to do your MSQ. And I'm doing it. I finally got a job, which is you hit level 30 and you get a job for your class. You don't get a choice, which I thought was pretty lame. It's just like X becomes Y. X doesn't branch into Y and W or anything.
Yeah.
That's kind of like not how Final Fantasy job systems work. But my friends keep telling me about these like fan servicey things from other Final Fantasies that show up. Like the dreaded Crystal Tower from Final Fantasy 3 is an entire like dungeon you can do in this game, and I get hyped. Like I get hyped at all the non FF14 stuff, even though allegedly the story will get really good. And like I did hit some good lore. There's some very cool lore with the summons that I hit, and apparently I was told that's like the tip of the iceberg, so that's cool. But Tyler's been playing way more than me, so you should take it away.
So I've actually gotten to get like a little bit of depth into the like advanced class because I'm like level 40. I like it. The combat does actually become a little bit more interesting once you get your job. But there is nothing to write home about in terms of the slog of the main story quest. Dungeons are slowly getting interesting. But I will say, here's my main thing. I don't get what the hype is about Final Fantasy 14.
Yeah.
I will say combat is mid at like, and that's pushing it. And I think that's
mid at best, if we're being honest.
It's objectively the best game.
Yeah, that's what I've been led to believe.
I really think this game caters to a casual MMO audience, and that's what has made it so popular because the combat is so fucking slow.
Maybe.
It is just a more approachable MMO. Like, prove us wrong. If somebody in our audience
Please.
plays Final Fantasy 14, please let us know.
Have y'all
like?
done any raids yet? That's the question.
I think
No,
they
we
have.
haven't. We don't get to yet.
Yeah.
We've done
Like,
dungeons together, and there are times in the dungeons, like, you'll do a 15-minute dungeon, and for about 30 seconds to a minute of that dungeon, you get to use your brain, and get stimulated, and that's pretty cool.
Yeah. And so that's like what I am excited about to see, because what I've been told is that dungeons are very, you have like, it's all technical, you know, and it reminds me of like how Destiny dungeons work, where everybody kind of works in the same capacity, but your performance becomes the issue.
And that worries me, because I play on controller, so it's like, it's way more comfortable for me to play this on my PlayStation 5, because I love playing games on the couch or bed, as opposed to hunched over where I do all my work all day. So it's like, I'm just like, maybe it'll be fine for offensive classes, but I feel like I'm straight up limited on support classes. I need to try it, but I feel like I'll never be good enough.
But you know, it's not just the combat that I feel is honestly pretty like lacking.
The quests are also like all the quests you've been doing for the last 20 years.
Quests aren't like nobody's gonna change how quests are done. That's just kind of ipso facto.
I don't like MMOs anymore. All the quests are exactly the same, and I really just hate it so much.
Shoutouts to RuneScape quests.
Those actually seem a little more interesting.
They do have some RuneScape-like quests in this game.
But RuneScape, on the other hand, god damn, they can be annoying to do because they're actually hard, which is cool if you want them to be hard, but man, when you just want to run through it on a new account, it's like, Jesus.
I think, Tyler, why this is the best game ever, like, everyone that I know that loves Final Fantasy is because of the plot. Like, people get so fucking hyped about the plot revelations that they get every new expansion. I see it on my timeline months after the expansion. I still hear about how good Endwalker is, you know, to this day.
See, that like,
which is where it's like, are we ever?
Does it not make you suspicious? Does it not make you go, why do they have to tell me how good the plot is?
Because
that's how I feel about The Last of Us.
Because objectively, no, The Last of Us is a fine survival horror, but I mean, here's the thing: a good plot is worth playing a video game. It's just like but then don't try to argue with me that the combat is bad when like it's clearly no one's favorite thing.
But okay, if the combat's not the favorite thing and the plot is, okay,
yeah. I'm with you, by the way. I'm picking up.
What Final Fantasy game have you played that you're like, God, this is the best thing in storytelling I have ever witnessed in my entire life?
I think Final Fantasy VII has a really good story. TBH, and when and
1 out of 18 plus titles.
I said 7 because that's the one I've completed. 8 has a good plot, but I know 6 and 10 and 12 are all supposed to also have very good plots, and 9. So give them a break. But here's the thing: 14's written by a team that hasn't done the other Final Fantasy, so you should give them the benefit of the doubt because it's not going to be the same. It's clearly different, like, and it'll probably be different for a good reason, like. And apparently there's a lot of plot twists, stuff that like you've taken for granted earlier in the story is recontextualized, and you're the bad guy, and et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah, that's what I'm worried about. Is like, is this just gonna be Bravely Default?
Oh yeah, from Osmosis, this is definitely a you're the bad guy story.
Yeah,
just,
like
that's what I picked up.
I already kind of got that, like at the very beginning. Like I just fought Titan, and I'm like, oh, I'm gonna be the bad guy. This is just gonna be the plot for Bravely Default,
but not as good.
Everybody who has played this game and talks about it being the best has not played Bravely Default. Oh no!
Final Fantasy 14 lovers don't play Final Fantasy games.
Yeah,
they play 14.
Yeah.
So I'm about to say, like, I hope the raids are good, and I hope the gameplay gets somewhat better. Otherwise, I'm gonna just be like, okay, this game got lucky with a stupid audience.
Because that's the thing, like, I might connect with the story. Tyler is not really one to connect with game stories very much.
Dude,
so it's
I'm trying. Yeah, I'm reading a Realm Reborn MSQ.
Because here's the thing also, like, it's slow and there's so much dialogue. They're really talking your ear off in this. So it's like, not all of those dialogue boxes inspire confidence in the story for me. So
yeah.
But
it's a rough life out there.
It's a Realm Reborn out there. But maybe one day one of us will get to Stormfront or whatever the first update's called, or Heaven's Ward, and then we'll know what it's really like to play the real Final Fantasy 14. I mean, Bradley's there now, so maybe Bradley can tell us if stuff's cool over there.
Yeah, y'all are just noobs.
Yeah. Professional Bradley over here with his bot account.
So,
on the cool thing, Bradley can do all the dungeons with us whenever we get to them.
Yeah, for real. And like, mostly I'm doing this. Mostly I'm just doing this so like, you know, I can do occasional like maybe PvP stuff with my family, and honestly just kind of that like real-time strategy mode.
And it's cool that you can do that. But
I know,
anyways,
right?
let's talk about a story Tyler does care about in Invincible.
Oh man, I like binge read Invincible. Holy shit, y'all. I don't read comic books, so I'll be the stupid person here. I don't read comic books. The premise starts very, like, hey, what if Batman bad? Or Superman bad?
Yeah.
Oh boy. It kind of takes like, what if Superman bad, but then Superman try to like redeem himself with like a moral argument that you're kind of like, I guess I could kind of see that. And then more Superman show up and they're like, no, you're bad.
Yeah, from what I understand, Nolan's one of the good ones, which is saying something.
I'm gonna say if the show gets animated, I think it's gonna be just such a damn good show.
I'm just happy Tyler likes good
Stories now, because I have a lot of faith that Invincible will wrap up in a good way.
I hope so. There's obviously changes from like the comic book to the animated series, and I would say all of them are good.
Yeah, you did talk about it last time, and that's the consensus you came to.
The show wrapped up, and I wrapped up reading, and it was such a good ending. I love the ending. There's no middling about with it. The story progresses at a really good rate. We kind of like, there is a little bit of a moment where we're like, oh, well, what's gonna happen? Now, like, I don't really see what can happen, and then they reveal what can happen, and you're like, oh shit, that's such a good, understandable thing to happen. Everything makes sense to happen, and that's a good happen.
I think I got spoiled on the last fight of Invincible.
Maybe, I don't know.
Maybe. Is are big bodies in the sky involved in the last fight?
That's like, that doesn't make any fucking sense right there. Like that's like happens like 8 times in the show. They fucking fly. They're superheroes.
Oh, I mean, like the sun as a big body in the sky.
Oh, maybe.
Okay, cool. Well, I made the mistake of watching.
The final fight is really cool.
Cool. Well, I think I know how it ends, but it's fine. Anywho, man, like, yeah, from everything I hear, like, Invincible wraps up in a good way, in a way that's not going to depress me, is the vibe I get.
Yeah.
So I think that inspires confidence.
Great wholesome ending.
I don't mind like that being like a spoiler. Like, it's kind of something I would rather know than get invested in a show that ends like because like we like the three of us have watched that season, and like if it just keeps doing what episode 8 did, my heart can't take it. Like, that was the hardest television I've ever watched. So like, or one of them.
They gotta do more of that, because that's not in the comic books. Like, that's like a third quarter size panel that they don't even show. Like, there is no Nolan holding his son's face through a subway in the comics.
Yeah, but it's such an impactful scene, so you like
it's worth it.
They casually crash into a subway, and like it kind of does that, and you see like the fallout of that, but that's it. But yeah, like the writers are great on the show because it's the original guy, plus the guy who adapted the showrunner from the comics from The Walking Dead into live action.
No, I believe it's the one from the first couple of seasons when The Walking Dead was beloved. So
yeah. Hopefully the same shit doesn't happen where they just drag it on for way too long than it should. But it's not AMC, so they'll probably be
it could. And here's the thing, right? It's something I was worried about, but I talked about another Amazon Prime show, which would be The Boys, and I was saying The Boys is getting to stuff that I was expecting to happen, like, in a dragged-out 7-season plotline. We're doing it in Season 3. So I feel like, I hope that they realize that Invincible is good in quality, and they shouldn't milk it. They should make it a smash hit and get it in and out.
Mm-hmm.
That's my hope, anyways.
Yeah, I hope they do that. Invincible, I bought all 3 compendiums. Very expensive. Absolutely 10 out of 10 worth it.
Yeah, give it in your tier list of favorite stories. Where does it land?
Oh man, it's up there with like Bravely Default, classic. Gonna remember it for the rest of my life. Never gonna forget it.
Dope.
I should borrow those from you.
Should.
It just seems like the TV show is so much better.
The comics were not a bad read. I'm not disappointed
believe
at
it.
all that I read the comics because I very much look forward to seeing what's different in the TV show.
Amazon seems to take these comic books and make them just a lot of changes for the better. Like The Boys is just infinitely better as a TV show, it seems. Because the comic is like peak edge. So yeah, they have quite the track record right now. I respect it. Which I guess wraps up the Invincible talk, Tyler.
Yeah, that wraps it up, man. I got nothing else to say. I don't want to spoil nothing else.
No, please.
I will say, despite you knowing like what that is right there, you don't know why, so you'll still be in for a treat.
I think I know why.
No, you don't know why.
It's undead.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know why they're fighting. I mean, there's always the lead up. So
Yeah.
Anywho, that leads us to our last topic, which is something you three can talk about because I have never finished the show, but I have watched episodes. How I Met Your Mother was watched recently by Bradley, and I know you guys have a lot of opinions on that show.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Well, Bradley, give me your takes.
So the first thing people usually talk about with How I Met Your Mother is obviously, did they enjoy the ending? Season 9, the last season as a whole, the first like 60% of it, 75% of the last season, I thought was like the funniest stretch of the show. I was laughing my ass off. The last like quarter of that season, you can kind of tell it was getting rushed, and the last episode, like I get it. I really get it. So I do, however, I agree. Man, are we just gonna do full spoilers? Like
You can, because
Dude, the show's been out for 8 years.
I know the ending. I know pretty much all the ending. I might still watch the show one day, but you don't have to worry about me.
Yeah.
So I fully agree with the like actual decision to have Ted end up with Robin. I just agree that the final episode itself is shit, just because it was so. It was like 2 seasons worth of stuff in one episode, you know.
I don't agree with Ted. Like I feel like the show is going to be something really different. Like if they went in the opposite direction where Ted like gives up Robin and ends up with the mother, because like it's a show at that point. It's not a show about like, oh, you'll always find the one. It's a show about moving on, which is a pretty consistent theme throughout the entirety of the show, I feel like. And it drives me up a wall, and I feel like it just also like ruins all the character development that happens to Barney in that show too.
That's the thing.
That's what I hear, that Barney gets really shafted in the end.
He does.
Yeah,
he really
like
does.
like Barney like starts as like the biggest piece of shit, and you're like, oh, my sweet baby boy by the end of it, and then it's just like, oh, like I guess we just regress at the very end. It's fine, I guess. Whatever.
And that's the thing. I feel like there's really good arguments that can be made either way, because one argument that I see very often online is like, well, obviously that's the rightful ending because they filmed that final sequence 8 years in advance. Like they knew they wanted that's how they wanted it to end. But at the same time, I saw a lot of people say online like, well, whenever they filmed that, the show was extremely new and they had no idea how long it would go, and by then maybe the idea of what the fans would see as an ideal ending had changed from what they originally filmed.
Yeah.
And then I think another good flip-flop is like, for example, you brought up the point of like a very recurring theme in the show is the idea of moving on, and Ted really is someone who like gets knocked down and has to get back up again. All the characters are. And so it's like the mother was seen as kind of the reward for him getting back on that horse just one more time, even though he'd been knocked down dozens of times.
And kind of like the ultimate knockdown. Like this was his dream girl and was like established at the beginning. So like it's the final blow, really.
Exactly. So you can see that as like this was the ultimate test he needed before finding, you know, the actual dream girl. And then the flip side to that I see is at like kind of one of the climaxes of season 9, shortly before like the actual wedding. I think it's when he goes to actually retrieve the locket from the crazy girl. He has this like long monologue, and he's like, I don't know, the crazy girl's like, why the hell are you doing this for Robin? And it's this whole monologue about like, when you love someone, you don't stop. And he's like, ever. And then he's like, not when people make fun of you, not when people think you're stupid, not when you're supposed to stop, not when they start dating stuff. Like, he just goes on this long thing. So people are like, oh, maybe they just wanted to go with this theme of like, when you know, which like, agree with that if you want or not. It's probably true for some people, not
yeah, that's a hot take, Ted.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I think those are like the two biggest arguments I see for either side, and I think the one thing I can just 100% agree with is, man, it shouldn't have gone that fast.
Yeah.
They can. I think all the other quote unquote bad decisions I've seen about the last episode, you can look into writer interviews, and it's like, I can see, okay, maybe if they had another 1 or 2 seasons, like, oh yeah, that would have been cool. I can see where they're going with that. And then like, I don't know, I really do just feel sad for Barney though.
Yeah, the other thing too, Bradley, is like, when you started watching it, I just also decided to rewatch it because I hadn't seen it in years. And like those first few seasons, they're really building up like Ted's 30th birthday, which was around like season 3 or 4, which was when they originally planned the show was going to end. So it really felt like the 30th birthday is the big thing that's coming up. And then midway through season 3 or 4, I forget which one, they do a pivot. It's like, oh, actually that event didn't happen then. It happened at a later time, so we won't discuss it now. And like, oh, okay, I guess.
Oh, I think I know that. Like they set up Ted to meet the mother at his birthday, but then they're like, but that was just the start of the chain of coincidences that led me to lead to meeting your mother.
Oh man,
yeah.
You know what?
I found this umbrella.
Y'all just reminded me, I didn't even list like my favorite argument for like the like chosen ending of the show.
Which one?
Is that, I don't know. So they filmed the actual ending, whatever, 8 years in advance. Mm-hmm. And then obviously the show goes on longer than normal. And now it turns out, wow, this show's gone on long enough that we've actually gotten to do a season where all the characters have met the mother, and we're going to get to let Ted meet the mother at the end of it. And we might even get to do a couple seasons with her. But then obviously Jason Segel was, he was done with doing the show. He wanted to move on to other stuff. And so suddenly the writers are presented with this scenario where Ted's entire story was about Robin. And so it's like, I can see that angle that they chose to go with, because that's literally what the kids said in the show. Like, why the fuck, like, we asked you how you met Mom. Why the fuck was the entire story about Aunt Robin? Mm-hmm. And I think that's really cool in a way, and I really like that, but also, rushed.
I think it's of two minds of it. I do like the idea of, like, you just talked about Robin for X amount of time, but I also like the idea more closer to season 3 or 4 territory. Like, I think it's more present than, and like,
I can see
I
that.
don't know. I just feel like character development between Barney and Ted and like just the whole crew itself like really changes. And like I think like once you hit that mark, the show gets really interesting and really different from like Friends, because it's like you kind of have to settle with the fact that like I don't think Ted and Robin are gonna get together. And Ted has to come to that conclusion too. Like there's a whole bet as well with
yeah, that was a really long running thing.
Yeah. It's the one sour note I have with that show. And like that being said, the show is still really funny.
And that's
like,
here's the thing. I would have been happy with either ending, and I think I really mean that. I don't know. I think the writers did really well. I really like this sitcom. Emmy tried showing me Friends first, and I mean it was all right, but then
Look, listen, hold on. Friends gets better. You're looking at the first season from 1990, whatever.
Yeah.
You're so unfair.
All I'm saying is How I Met Your Mother from episode 1 was good, and it got better almost every season.
Yeah, you would get that.
And that is my 2 cents.
Tyler, you've watched the show, right? What did you haven't said anything?
Yeah, what's going on here?
I'd say the show is a lot better when binged because you don't lose detachment from Robin and Ted being an item.
Yeah, right.
It's weird.
You also do theory crafting about the mother was apparently a big thing about the show.
Yeah, if you have never seen this show and you get really depressed and then you watch like the entire thing in like a week, it's like 9 seasons of one show casually in a week. Not that bad, you know?
No, actually, Tyler has a really good point.
Yeah.
Because, you know, if I'm binging it, to me, you know, it's only been like 5 days of real time since Ted and Robin were together.
Yeah.
But if you're watching it in real time, it's been like 5 years since then, and you have all these clues to who the real mom is. So, you know, you're probably less
You
invested.
don't get attached to the mom. Like,
That's the other thing too, is that when I caught up to the show to the second to last season, and
man.
I had to wait for the new episodes of the final season coming out.
I mean, imagine the fans that were there from the beginning, and
I know.
that's why they're so mad.
Yeah.
right? That's what the showrunner said.
Fuck those kids.
Yeah, fuck them.
Yeah, I mean, it's rough, and I mean that was always their plan, right?
Yeah, and like I understand that, but it's just I think they could have done a different ending or done just adjusted
Anything
something.
else?
Yeah, there's a really good cut where like the show ends like with Ted meeting the mother on the train station, and like it goes through like because I did this and then this happened, and like it goes through like a really quick recap of the entire series to really show like I went through all of this to meet your mother and it was worth it. And that like just is like a really great like fuzzy feeling at the end, I think, of like I did all this shit happened to me, it was 100% worth it.
And then he says, but then.
Yeah, but then
Ted strikes me as such a fucking like good
Asshole.
guy piece of shit.
yes,
He's a good man, but he's a piece of
He's
shit.
a good man, but he's a good guy.
he goes
He's
through a lot.
he's a nice man, but he's a nice guy. That's what I'm trying to
Yeah,
say.
he's a real nice guy.
Who are y'all's favorite characters, and does Lily suck as much as I hear? Find out.
Dude, Lily stands are red flags. I love you, Ashlyn, but she'll never listen to this. But
Awooga.
Lily stands are the biggest red flags of humans.
I think Barney is the best.
I do think Barney is the best. Like it's a
Sadly,
shocker.
Barney is the best.
Cause
Yeah.
hey, you know what is all that shit that happened to him in the last episode? I think his final scene was like the best cry I had in the show.
Yeah.
The best
And
cry
then,
out of many cry.
Out of many of them.
I mean, really, Barney's not the best. Jason Segal's character is actually just the best
He
human ever.
is awesome, yeah.
He is way out of Lily's league.
Yeah. It's
Man,
true.
you said it. You said it, man.
Ain't that the story for all his characters for getting Sarah Marshall too?
Yeah.
I don't know.
speaking
It's
of that-
Mila Kunis.
And Kristen Bell. Like that's tough.
I
Did
just
he
saw
date
Forgetting
Amy
Sarah
Adams?
Marshall for the first time like a day or two ago.
I saw it for the first time with Tyler a couple
I
months
was
ago.
really pleased because
It's a really good movie.
I don't know. I was really worried that he would feel too much like Marshall to me, but I think Jason Segel did a good job enough at making it feel like a different guy.
I think it also aged well, which is very hard for comedies to age well.
Yeah.
I'll say, and it got some genuine laugh out louds from me in my living room. And I'm like, hey.
I just think it also is just a really good story of like it's very maybe timeless is too pure of a word, but like it feels very much like we've all been there. You dated someone for a long time, and then they just like, yeah, I'm done, and you're like, oh, well, fuck.
Oh fuck! God damn it! I didn't see this coming.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the problem. Oh, it hurts.
Oh man.
Man, oh man. Well,
It's a good.
if there's anything to be said about How I Met Your Mother, say it now before we move on to the wrap
I think
up.
that's
If you can't watch, the show is not for you if you can't watch it in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah, it seems like it. Or 1 week if you're in Tyler levels of depressed.
Yo.
And then, I have a final bit. How I Met Your Mother is not better than Friends because Friends did it first. First of all,
Okay.
That's not how that
true.
works.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
it is.
Okay.
No, it's not.
in the sitcom world, yeah, it's all about novelty there.
Shut up.
Just like
Pop
Seinfeld
culture.
is the best sitcom.
But he believes that. He's a fucking freak.
I know exactly, right?
Wait, me?
I mean,
Yeah.
Seinfeld is good though.
I don't
Yeah.
think Seinfeld's the best sitcom, but it is good.
But it's the first one.
Yes, that's good.
Yeah.
I Love Lucy's the best sitcom because it really did it all.
Yeah. Yeah.
Drake and
Simpsons
Josh.
did it actually. But like you should really don't think of it as being like different than Friends. Just think of it as a continuation of the ensemble.
It's a
cast
spiritual.
that hangs out at apartments.
Dude.
Yeah, a lot of the same energy and
Yeah.
like character dynamics.
Also, man, I should mention, I watched the first few episodes of How I Met Your Father also.
Oh, with Hilary Duff.
And it also has Josh Peck.
Oh.
Ew.
It's interesting. 'Cause,
I've heard that show is not good.
Like,
that's just the safest way to
But,
put it. It's not
I
good.
think people are too harsh on these like revivals, but I digress.
there has been some genuinely good jokes, and I think the number one thing I was interested to see going in is like, which personalities are they going to choose for this new cast? Because like, you know how Animal Crossing villagers have the personalities where there's like the sporty one and like the sarcastic one, and I was like, okay, How I Met Your Mother, you had the good boy with Marshall, and then you had the playboy with Barney. So I was like, what is this cast gonna have? And I feel like we actually kind of have some really good ones. Like, you have like the naive foreigner from like Britain. And like he means well, but sometimes he just really doesn't get how stuff works over here. And it's always over very subtle things. So that's kind of fun. And there were some parts where it could be seen as either really cool or really fan servicey. Like, for example, the characters are like, "Man, we got to get a new apartment in New York City. Oh, look, there's some old people who have an old apartment. Oh, it's the apartment from the old show." And it's like, that could be really cool. It could be like, oh yeah, we're back. Or, to some people, they could be annoying, like it's too much.
Oh wait, is it like the apartment from the old show?
It is. And they're like, look, they left some swords up on the wall. And, it's the swords from the first show.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's cool to have callbacks at least.
So,
If
they're
they're not
definitely
used
on.
cheaply, which I feel like they would be.
But now I will
Which
say,
I think canonically they took the sword.
I think they did. But
Like
here's the
Marshall
thing.
and Ted each got a
that's what-
sword.
Yeah, they each got a sword because they left the apartment.
So
To
it
their
breaks canon.
credit.
Great.
Yeah.
That's about as far as the callbacks go. Like everything I just said that's about it. I think they really did also try to make it its own thing. Is it funny? I don't think so. Is it worth a shot? If you're not binging anything else.
Mhm.
The ensemble. I think the ensemble sitcom has drastically changed in the last 10 years.
Well, I feel like How I Met Your Mother was as influential as Friends is, if we're being honest.
Oh, I agree, but I don't feel like nothing has really done it since. Like, we have a couple of boomer shows like that my
No.
parents watched for bad reasons, like Last Man Standing.
I don't even know what the fuck that is. Now, would you say that The Office... No, The Office and, like, Parks and Rec don't really count because they have this angle of, like, it's your friend co-workers. It's not your, like, friends and How I Met
Workplace
Your Mother
comedy.
friends.
Yeah. They're people you
Like
have
where
to
the
enjoy your
evolution
daily
happened
life.
was with The Office.
Yeah.
Yeah, and, like, now that you mention it, since The Office, I haven't seen, like, the Group of Friends show. I'm trying to think, and nothing's coming to mind.
And it's because you haven't realized that The Good Place is the here's your friend show. It has to
No, it's
amp
not.
up the plot.
No, it's not, because it's the same. It's another. You're forced to be friends with these people, and then it becomes an
But,
ensemble cast.
like, they really become friends.
Yes, I mean they become beyond like you can't reach the level of friendship they have because we're not in fucking heaven.
Yeah,
So,
we're not dead yet.
yeah.
It becomes weird like that, you know, and like.
And I'm
Parks
thinking
and
of
Rec
like
is-
Schitt's Creek is like a family, so it's another forced situation. Modern Family's a family.
Yeah.
What are other sitcoms? We did a whole tier list for these bitches.
Rick and Morty, the animated
You know,
film.
there's animated
Friends of
ones. The animated one that would come to mind is Big Mouth and
Yeah,
Bob's
I was about to
Burgers.
Family.
Bob's Burgers is also a family. Like,
Yeah, like
There's no-
Big Mouth
there's
is
no-
kind of it right now. Look at that breaking
yeah.
ground.
Fun fact.
There's also the Slipping Jimmy cartoon that unfortunately is going to exist if it's not already out. So,
Really,
Also
you,
the,
you don't want to hear this, but who's the bad guy from Stranger Things season 4?
Vecna?
Vecna is just a shame wizard.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I do want to hear this. Vecna's cool. We didn't talk about him, but he's a good villain.
He's just a shame
And
wizard.
so is the Shame Wizard. So
Yeah.
both good villains.
man, I was going on a weird nerd rant yesterday about D&D and Stranger Things. Like, the ranking of things don't make any goddamn sense of like who these people are. But that's a weird tangent to go on.
Yeah. Fuck off, Joe. Relax.
Yeah, I hate it.
Calm down.
That's why I don't watch the show.
Triggered. Well, that leads us to our question of the day. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Now, what are your least favorite endings? And then do like a sandwich of a bad ending, a good ending, and a bad ending. Go. Who's going first?
Oh,
A
Jesus.
sandwich of a good ending, a bad ending, and a
No,
good ending?
it's a negative
First.
sandwich.
Oh, a negative sandwich.
Yeah.
Yeah. These are bad buns.
I was not thinking about it.
I'm gonna do a really controversial one, maybe,
Okay.
Ooh.
but I don't have my third ending yet.
Yeah, that's
Okay.
fine. Well, I
It's
can pick up.
two endings.
Do your set up your sandwich.
I'm gonna say bad ending, Akira.
Wow.
What a terrible fucking movie.
Wow. I don't agree, but
That's why I said we're gonna make it spicy flavored.
that ending's like weird and neat. All right, what's a good ending for you then?
The Good Place.
Yeah.
Easy.
Yeah.
Kind of like arguably
Perfect.
season 4 is the weakest season, but those last 3 episodes are fucking god tier, so it doesn't matter.
I think if Bradley ever watched the entirety of The Good Place, I think he would cry so much in the last episode he'd actually dehydrate himself.
Oh
and
no,
just
Bradley
watch
would
the
just
whole-
watch Victorious again instead of watching the show we've been asking.
Now you're talking.
Bradley, we don't even want you to like the show. Just fucking turn on one episode, please.
Oh, well, now you got me.
There you go. You can hate it after the one episode. It's fine.
Oh, well, you never told me that.
Yeah, by all means. But I can do a bad and a good. Bad ending. I can't. Joe, you go.
I'm stuck on bad endings because like all I'm
I
thinking.
got one.
Okay.
Hit me.
Bad ending, unfortunately, Challenge Showdown.
Ooh.
Oh.
Season 3 was not. It was not a good look, man. It was not a good look. Good ending though. The Batman, the newest Batman movie.
Ooh, that has a very
Yeah.
good ending.
That's a very good ending, if you ask
Ooh,
me.
that's a good ending.
I like how
Ah.
these are varied picks. This is what I was hoping for.
Yeah, right.
You know what? We're idiots, Willer, because bad ending,
I knew.
worst ending, Game of Thrones.
Yeah. Oh, that's such a freebie. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my god, it's so bad.
Yeah, it's actually, it's a.
I was thinking of Game of Thrones. I was like, why does Game of Thrones ruin the entirety of Game of Thrones? But I don't like Attack on Titan's ending, but I could still say like it's 90% good. And it's because Game of Thrones was on a downhill for like 4 seasons.
Game of Thrones saved the ending for Attack on Titan.
I don't know what that means.
Because Game of Thrones was so bad, it offset the bad ending of Attack on Titan.
A little bit. Let's not mince words here. Bad ending. Food Wars, aka Shokugeki no Soma.
Is that show done?
Now I don't know if the ending's bad, but that last arc's bad. So I'll go with something else instead. I'll go with
Toriko.
I also stopped prior to the ending of Toriko because it was getting really bad. Shit, I can't.
Oh, wait. I got a bad ending.
I tend to not finish bad shows to get to the ending.
I've got a bad ending.
Okay.
The worst ending. The act age.
Oh.
Fuck, bad ending, act age. Agreed.
No, my worst ending for real. My for real worst ending, Pet Cemetery.
Oh my god, y'all hate that shit so much.
I hated that shit. That pissed me
That
off.
movie, I mean, that book was so good until the last 30 pages.
I was
And
into it.
Bradley and I were like, because Bradley and I were like messaging each other back and forth.
Yeah.
We were like, holy shit, I feel upset about my life and
could not
everything.
believe it.
Yeah, and then we got to the end, we're like, I kind of hate it.
Yeah, no. So that's my number one worst ending.
Yeah, that was.
Oh,
everything
wait,
else about that
I
book
have
was-
another worst ending, but it's not technically over, but it is. The anime adaptation of Tower of God.
Holy shit, I forgot.
Oh no.
Bad ending. Oh my god, what's it called? Promise Neverland. Holy crap.
Oh my god!
Oh.
Holy shit!
I'm sorry, Joe. I know we had both completely forgotten about it for the better. But
It was that. Oh my god! That manga that's so bad that they just butchered season 2, which was the actual best part of the entire.
it's nuts.
Story.
It's nuts. They're like, we're just gonna jump to the bad ending.
Yeah.
Good ending, 13 Sentinels. That gives me so much hope for the world and humanity. Very uplifting. Another good
yeah.
ending, Haikyuu. My god. Haikyuu Ass Class 2. There we go. Triple burger sandwich
Triple decker.
of
Good
good endings.
Anime Hunter x Hunter.
Yeah.
Hey.
Mid. No, it's
Actually,
good.
yeah.
And then I don't know if I have another bad ending. I think I made my sandwich there.
Hot take bad ending. I think it's a good ending, but a lot of people don't like it. Mass Effect 3.
Wait, are you saying it's bad or
You
good?
say it's good.
I said it's bad. I think it's good.
Oh, I think it's fine too. People are just
And
stupid.
so many people hated that ending.
I was just like, yeah, this the whole game is about making one of 3 choices. You get to make one of 3 choices. What?
Did you not play the other games? These are the same people.
You
that
know,
play
when you
Final
put it
Fantasy.
like that, it really makes people seem stupid. I don't know the context.
These are the same people that play Final Fantasy 14. Let's be honest.
True,
It's just,
TBH.
it blows my mind.
Good ending, RRR, which I just
Ah.
talked about today.
Yeah. God, I'm trying to think about now that we're such a negative mood. I can't.
Bad ending, Falcon and the Winter Soldier a little bit. And Hawkeye a little bit. And no, yeah.
I think kind of mid. On
Mid,
Falcon
yeah,
and
bad,
Winter
bad. It's not in the same tier as Promise
Yeah.
Neverland.
Oh no, God. Promise Neverland was a box that I was gladly collecting dust in the back of my brain. I forget about that series every day, more and more. I
Bad
just have to
ending?
refresh it.
Naruto, if we're
What?
a little bit.
What? No. Nuh-uh. Nuh-uh. You get out.
Like the epilogue's fantastic, but the ending is not that good, right? Come on.
Bleach.
Like
Yeah.
who gives a shit? It was fine.
It was fine. You're right. I'm being too mean.
Apple.
I like Naruto. I defend Naruto more than most people.
Man, I just want to shit on Promise Neverland more. A fucking guy died and he comes back to life for no reason, and it's the and people make him
I'm the king now.
yeah, like I had to convince you that actually happened. Do you remember that, Willard?
I do remember that. I completely blanked that out of my mind.
Oh, I just don't read Promise Neverland unless you just want something to shit on. Do not read Promise
Incredibly controversial time. Good ending. Lost, the TV show.
Neverland. Never seen it.
I think people. Well, it's widely renowned as a horrible ending, and I think people don't get it.
What was the ending to Lost?
Have you seen Lost?
I watched I watched when there was a polar bear on the island.
That's episode 3, my guy.
I know they left the island at one point.
They did, and it leads to maybe the greatest plot twist in television.
They were on the island the whole time.
No. Okay, since you guys are so Lost adverse and sometimes spoilers help,
God.
Lost does this thing where throughout the series you will get flashback to people's stories of what their life was before the island.
I do remember watching that.
Now,
Okay.
Yeah.
in season 4, you start getting these flashbacks, and they start contradicting with information that you've gotten previous.
Mm.
And it's like, oh, I didn't realize Jack was an alcoholic who tried to get in planes to die, and I didn't realize like these characters knew each other or had beef, like they met before the island, and it hasn't come up. What? And you find out at the very end of season 4, you find out all of those flashbacks you were watching were actually things in the future from the season that you like. They were flash forwards, and everyone has already left the island at in these flash forwards. You're like, wait, what the fuck? So you find out like Jack meets the main female protagonist, and he hits her with an iconic line in television where he's like, "We have to go back, Kate. We have to go to the island. Like, life doesn't make sense since we left. We have unfinished business." And it hits you that you've been seeing flash forwards and they somehow left the island. It is such
That's
a good
actually
twist.
badass.
And that's
really
that's how it ends.
Well, that's season 4. How it ends is okay.
Do they go back?
So in season, then in season 5, are they flash forwards or flash? Anyways, in season 6, you have flash sideways, and what that means is it's when everyone dies in Lost, they all go into a purgatory state until they're ready to move on together. And people misconstrued that to think that they were dead the whole time, which is blatantly false, and people will still say that. Like, they just did not understand the plot.
That would annoy the crap out of me if people...
It's annoying, TBH. Like, Lost has a lot of, Iraqi-isms. By the way, bad ending, Jojo Leon, good ending, part 4 and 7. Adding to that.
Yeah.
Like, the thing you actually described that the show actually did seems cool. It's like the misconception people have.
It's kind of beautiful because it's like, because you already had a flash forward, so you're like, well, even as a flash forward, none of this is making sense. So you realize, like, they're in a state where they're kind of wrapping up loose ends that they had in their own life in the, like, a spiritual realm, and then they all move on together in a happy ending to a location we don't know. It's the next big adventure, you know. It's kind of beautiful in that way, but just the way that people misconstrue it is just nuts. But I digress. Lost is a good show. That's all my endings and such.
Breaking Bad. Good ending.
Good ending.
Oh,
Better Call Saul. Hopefully, good ending too.
Don't say that. Don't say that, because
Here's the
it
thing.
will actually not happen.
The way they talk about the Better Call Saul ending, they're like, it's weird. They say it is. It almost feels like it's intentionally controversial. Not everyone's gonna be happy, and like it's also like tough to watch.
But that's also the worst. They literally said that for Attack on Titan and Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
So.
Well, in Game of Thrones, all the actors were like, haha, yeah, best season ever. Like, you could tell they were done. The actors for Better Call Saul, they're just like, I don't know what we just acted in. Like, it's hard to put into words. That's the vibe I get.
And you know what? I trust them to make something that will make me uncomfortable to watch.
I mean, you could argue Breaking Bad has, like, an ending that's too smooth. Like, everything goes, like, really cleanly.
Too well.
But, like, after the disaster that's Ozymandias 2 episodes before, it's like, no, we should do a straightforward ending because...
We should end the show. Like,
That's the thing. Like, people need to realize everything going well for Walt was still tons of people dying and multiple people's lives being ruined if they weren't dead.
Mm-hmm. It's like... I was talking to Willer about this in the car ride once. I was just like, you get to a point where you need to make the point of the show, and then you need to end the show.
Exactly. That's exactly what Breaking Bad did. They're like, here's the fall of Walter White, and here's this little denouement of getting revenge.
There you go.
And like that's all you need to do for a good ending. And then you have Game of Thrones that I can't even describe what they did because it was so baffling. Like it's just like it. you don't need to circumvent expectations. You just need to end the show.
Yeah.
Like, just do it. I cannot believe Bran became king of everything. That's so
Absolutely.
stupid.
And I was someone who was a big fan of Bran until season 7
Yeah.
and 8, where he lost all personality due to plot reasons.
Yes.
Two more good endings. I lied. I mean, Worm and Pact have to be brought up here. How does that guy write? How does he write a
My
billion
God.
words and then actually pull it off? Like,
Because like the thing is, like for both of them, like the quality of all the chunks in the middle can be debated for maybe either
Yeah.
one, but the endings of both were just like, man,
bro, fucking
you got something else going on up there.
Blake's fate is like the most poetic, perfect. Like,
It was one of,
holy
like,
shit.
Reading the chapter before the epilogue, I was like, I have to be dreaming. This can't be
The
what
ending.
the chapter actually is.
All right, let's wrap this up.
Wrapped
We've been
up.
here for too long.
No,
Wrapped up.
we have 20 seconds before we're at 2:30. Someone kills it. 15 seconds. Go.
Oh shit.
All right. You know what? Let's edge them. We're gonna get it right at like 57 or 8.
And
Right about now. Goodbye.